Good evening. Good evening. Good to see you guys. You see, I'm all disheveled. It was a pool day today, and so we love pool days. Well, I mean, I love pool days because I finally have a pool. Pool days sucked when I didn't have a pool, but now I got a pool. So pool days are so much better. So it is your typical Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know where all my peeps are, but hopefully they'll be showing up soon. Maybe one day I'll actually set it up in the system to actually remind everybody that it's actually a 9 o'clock show on Thursdays. But I hear all during the week, hey, I watched you in Futureland and I wasn't there for the show. So I don't know why you guys aren't hitting that little ringy dingy button. Brett Baseball is here. He's here to have some fun, learn things and say stuff. All Nighter Hider, thank God he's back in the fold. It's been about time. So super excited to have you back here, Hyder. And Simon, his and Simon's birthday were this last weekend. So hope you guys had a fantastic birthday. BuzzTune, Mikey's here with us. Yep, it's awesome to have you guys back. Hyder, you can bring order back to the stream, although it wasn't too horrible while you were gone. We don't have an unruly crowd. People depend on me to be the unruly one. Trade Better, good to see you. It was exciting to see you there in the school class. And have you there and spend some time with you guys. But what I wanted to talk about tonight was when banks fail. And this is not clickbait. This is not clickbait. So one of the really interesting things that I'm seeing a lot with a lot of other real estate investors is that they don't understand the state of the banking system. They don't understand it at all. They don't know it. They aren't talking to bankers. They don't have relationships with VPs in 20 different banks like I do. And I talk to these people all the time. I talk to them all the time. This is the type of news that I want to bring to you guys because everybody else is reading charts. Everybody else is reading reports. Everybody else is reading feelings. And I'm actually talking to the people that are living in it. I'm talking to the people that are doing the deal workouts. I'm talking to the banks that are kicking the can down the road. Now, don't worry, to protect the guilty. Yeah, I said it that way. To protect the guilty, I'm not going to start naming banks. I'm not going to do that. However, what I will do is I will tell you flat out, it's not good. It's not good. I'm talking to these banks. I do deal with seller financing. Sure. Any chance I possibly can. But do you know that I talk to all 20 of those VPs at least once a month? At least once a month, I talk to all 20 of them. Yeah. One of them is now a president of a bank. I have another one that works directly for the CEO of a bank. Senior lenders. These are high-level banking people. And I talk to them all the time. And some of them don't share the information as you would hope they would. They don't give it up to me on a silver platter. But I know the right questions to ask. And I'm not going to tell you what those are. But I'm going to tell you that I'm going to share with you the answers, and the answers are quite telling. I had a deal that I was working on, a portfolio deal. I have, we'll say about 10 mortgages in that portfolio. What's really interesting is that in that portfolio of 10 mortgages, there's a provision that, and this is why I set up portfolios this way. This is what I was talking to you guys about last week. Landlord Odyssey. Good to finally see you here. Culpy too. Good to see you, boys. So we're, and Fire and Ice, good to see you as well. So we're finally kind of going through it. But one of the provisions that I had in that portfolio was that I could, so long as I stayed within the 70% LTV, that I could pull out assets. Now, how you do that is you actually have to get the entire portfolio appraised, which was going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, which is fine. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Don't worry about it. When you have 9 mortgages and you've got these assets and they're seasoned and they're producing a ton of cash flow, here's what I will tell you. Not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's a fraction of 1 month's profit on those assets. Not a big deal. And so we go through that process and I basically tell the bank what I'm going to do. What's really interesting is that they came back. Guys, blew me away. Ashamed at how I answered. Not ashamed. I'm a jerk when you're a jerk to me. Like, it's just that simple. You slap me, I slap you harder. See this big hand? It hurts when you get hit with that. This way or this way, but usually this way. I like this way a lot. Big fan of this way or this way, either one. But unbelievable to me, kind of how everything unfolded. So I'm doing this I'm going through this process. Bank comes back to me and they say, here's what we want to do. We Native Earth, it's quite posh and quite choice. I highly recommend it. And so they said to me, well, what we're going to do is if you're going to take that money and you're not going to, you're going to basically recast debt, but it's going to be on just those assets. We're going to raise your rate from 4 to 5. You're going to what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Are we far enough into the video? We're not far enough into the video where I can use that kind of language. But suffice to say, so the banker said to me, they said, so what are you thinking? And I said, I said, all right, do you have a pen? She said, yes, I have a pen. And I told her what to say back to the senior leadership of the bank. And it was it wasn't angry because the message wasn't to her, but the message was, the words were angry. And she's like, you really want me to say that? And I go, I really want you to say that. I really do. I said, this was not the intent of the loan. This was not how the loan was structured. The loan was structured the way that I'm using the loan. And now you're trying to penalize me. I have a problem with that. And so I haven't had a conversation with the senior leadership in that bank yet. I don't know that I will. I have 4 different meetings with banks next week. Here's one of the things that I can tell you. Banks, there's some banks that are going to fail, right? It's not that big a deal because there's lots of banks that fail. Truly, it's not that big a deal. The problem that it has is that when banks fail, it puts a shock in the system depending on the size of the bank that fails. Then there's all the banks that are too big to fail. And, because we learned our lesson so well from 07, 08 to 12, what did we want to do? We actually squished them more together, but because their asset values had dropped so much, it made smaller banks, even though it made bigger banks. And so now that they're healthy again, because they got a bunch of money from the government, and this isn't a political statement, like this is fact, like this is what happened. At the end of the day, I fault them all in the mortgage crisis back in, in the housing crisis, back in the great financial crisis. I fault them all. The banks, yeah, certainly they were greedy. The mortgage brokers, yeah, certainly they were greedy. But guess what? So were the buyers. The buyers were a bunch of dopes and clowns too. They were just like, how much are you willing to give me? $500,000, $600,000. Yeah. Okay. What do I need to do to get that? They knew that they were lying. That's why they called them liar loans. The mortgage broker wasn't the only liar. Mortgage brokers were liars. The banks were liars. Wall Street was buying the lies because they just saw what the multiples were on those dollars and believed that they were good assets. They weren't good assets. And because they were full of liar loans. If somebody sits there and they go, oh yeah, you don't understand, like these 10 loans, like this little tranche. So these 10 loans, they're fantastic loans. They're really good loans. They're all rated AAA, or the bond is rated AAA, or the stack of these, the tranche of these is rated AAA. So they're sitting there and they're going, oh, AAA. Well, that's the top rating. That's fantastic. Yeah. We're going to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Those are good. And we'll pay a premium because they are so good. The problem is that once they hit 8% of people not paying, which is 8 out of 100 people not paying their mortgages, once they hit that, the tranche was useless. So if you look at thousands and thousands of mortgages, they were looking at it and they were doomed to fail. The worst part is it spread contagion. Why did it spread contagion? Because slices, they would take a mortgage, they would slice it into 4, and then they would put the slice of those 4 into other tranches and sell them other places. So that's why you had so many issues when trying to go through the financial crisis. That's why you had so many issues trying to actually sell some of these foreclosures, was because they had to get a piece from here. 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 That's why it failed so miserably. It wasn't just a 1-to-1. It was, they had to literally go collect the pieces that were in these other assets and tranches that were sold other places. That's why they had to invent something called a robo-signer. And they were like, hey, if it fits this, then just, robo-sign it. Boom. There you go. Lavetta, I got stated income loan in 2000 to buy a house. Yeah. Yep. Stated income. Exactly. Stated income. So, it's, the liar loans, that's what they were called. That's what they are. That's what they were. So when we look at the situation that we're going through this time, here's what's changed. Mortgage regulation changed. Flat out of change because you couldn't get a liar loan anymore. You actually had to have provable income. You had to show your income. It wasn't a matter of stated income. I say I make $150,000 a year. No, you don't, liar. Okay. So the bank used to, that mortgage broker, the bank behind that mortgage broker would approve it. Well, they put right here that they make 150 grand a year. It was like, don't ask, don't tell. And not that situation, but don't ask, don't tell about the income. So it's just like, yeah, just fill out here what you make. How much do I need to make to be able to buy that house? Oh man, you have to make about 150,000, maybe 200,000 bucks a year to make that house. Cool. That's what I'm doing. Janitors, mechanics, they're making 200 grand a year. Now as a mechanic, you can make 200 grand a year. So this is what happened. This is why it all fell apart. So what I'm seeing now, the history, right, or the future, it's not always exactly the same song. It doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And here is what the rhyme is. The rhyme is that I believe that we're not seeing a bunch of those liar loans like before, but here's what we are seeing. We are seeing people that spent a lot more money on a house. They have a much higher mortgage now. The people at 2.5%, 3%, they're fine. 3.5%, they're fine. Because they realize for them to get out of their house, even if they just go buy exactly the same size house, usually their payment's going to close to double. So they're not going to actually move. They're going to stay put. And that's what they're largely doing. Then there's the people that have to move. Sure, you have to move. You have to move for a job. You have to move for this, for that. Hey guys, did you see what the market did today? I'm just saying, I told you jobs are going to start to drop off. I told you in the beginning of the year, I said the problem happens when the job market gets worse and worse and worse. I've got bad news. When markets go down hundreds of points in a day or full percentage points, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, when they go down that much in a day, jobs are going to be on the line. I'm telling you. Now, might we get a rate cut in September? Sure. It's going to be like a fart in the wind. It's not going to matter. It's going to make hysteria for a small group of people. And then everybody else is still going to realize I'm so screwed. It's still not going to happen for me. That's what's going to continue to happen. I can tell you banks are in trouble because banks are now calling me asking for deposits. Hi, how are you? Do you have any deposits for me? Now, I've spoken to some extremely amazing banking resources that work in the banking industry who will also remain nameless because I don't want to point them out because I don't want you bothering them. And quite frankly, I don't want you to know who they are. So at the same time, too, I'm having those conversations with them. I'm saying, hey, what are the reserve ratios? What's the deposit ratio for lending? What does that look like? Well, for most of the banks that I deal with, if you give them a $1 deposit, they can lend out 90 cents of that dollar. Think about that. I'm giving them a $1 deposit. They can lend out 90 cents of that. So why do they need deposits? Because if they get $100 million in deposits, they can lend out $90 million. If they get $50 million, they can only lend out $45 million. Had to think about that for a quick second. So what does that mean? That means that their lending goes way down. And how do they make money? They make money on their lending. What is the least expensive lending? Masterclass here, right, guys? What's the least expensive lending that a bank can do? The least expensive lending that they can do is the lending that they do based on the deposits that are coming in the door. That's the least expensive lending. Because otherwise they have to go to the federal government and they have to pay the government's rates on those dollars. Because now everybody says, oh, well, yeah, but every bank has all these 4.5%, 5% paying high yielding funds. True. But how many people are in those funds? Not many. Not many. Some banks, it's less than 10% of their people are in an account that is paying them 4 or 5%. Less than 10% for some banks. Other banks, it's much higher adoption. But if you think about the typical depositor, the depositor is going in, putting in their checking account's not paying them that. Look at what your checking account is paying you right now in interest. It is largely going to be less than 0.5% or even less than 0.25%. Many of them. Many of them. So what are they doing? That means the bank is essentially taking in that money. They're having to pay out 0.5 point. That's what they're paying you for the money. They're having to pay you 0.5 point. But they're charging you the street price at 7 points, 7%. That's what they're doing. Diabolical. This is why everybody wants to be a bank. This is why bank starts are happening. Big rich people get a bunch of money together. And there's a bunch of things that you have to do in order to get a bank charter. Don't get me wrong. It's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of time. It takes reputation. It takes a lot. But when that happens, this is the power of banking. They actually have the ability to lend you money at 7%, and it only costs them 0.5% that they're paying out to their depositors. So when a bank calls me and says, we would be interested in listening to some of your thoughts on some products, because you guys know that I work with banks that will allow me to work with them to build out products. That's why I work with smaller banks. JP Morgan Chase isn't calling me, sadly. Jamie, I'm available, and I'm a huge fan. So as you look at this process, this is where these small banks are now finally saying, hey, you know what? We'd like to have a conversation with you. We would consider some of those bank loans that you're considering. Right. Why? Because you're a bank right now that has plenty of deposits coming in or some deposits coming in, and you need to put that money out there. So you're making money on that money. You need to put that money out there so you're actually generating dollars, because you need to pay your staff. And how do you do that? You do that on a 6.5-point spread, where you're basically taking depositors' money in and you're paying them 0.5%. And then you're giving it out, you're lending it out to the street at 7.5. I talked to a bank that was 8.2%. And I was like, absolutely not. They're like, well, we really like to earn your business. I go, then drop about 250 basis points. Then we might be able to have a conversation. She's like, oh, I can never get there. Right. You can never get there. And I'll never get to 7.2, 7.2, 8.2, 8.2. What are you talking about? 8.2. Get real. Anyway, let's jump into this. So hopefully that was helpful to you guys, but all you guys that are here that I already said hi to, thank you so much. Lorna, good evening. How good to see you too. LOL. We're depending on you, Matt. Get unruly. Yeah, I think I just did a little bit. I just called the banking system ugly. It's because it is, but I know how to play within the system. Listen, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? People are like, oh, you're the worst because you make money off of human suffering. Ugh. You know what human suffering is? Listening to your avant-garde album. That's what human suffering is. Or looking at your crappy art. You know, that's suffering. That's suffering. Chris Culp, good to see you, my friend. Native to Earth. Hanging loose. Appreciate you. Landlord Odyssey, good evening. It's now past my bedtime. Well, ready on. Winners win, dude. Winners win. Lavetta, good to see you. Robert Farinelli, hello. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, Angel, for the obligatory hit that like button. I hate to tell people to do it, but sometimes you guys need to be told what to do. Can't wait to walk into a bank with FU money. I can tell you, it's quite choice. It's quite choice. It's one of the best experience you'll ever have. Guys, listen, the bank's not calling you asking for deposits, because you can't make it out of thin air with a W-2. You can't. They're asking business owners, we'd like your deposits. They're asking property owners, hey, bring some of your deposits over here. Yeah, we'd like some of your deposits over here. Yeah, so this is what I tell you guys. This is what I teach a lot about in the course, right? I talk a lot about how to speak banking, how to talk bank. You know, this is banking talk. You know, this is what makes you elite. This is what makes someone elite, is being able to have a conversation with a banker like you're a banker. And that draws respect. And if it doesn't draw respect, then boom, on to the next bank. But I had a conversation. I literally had a conversation with a senior VP in a bank. Do you know what they said to me? It sounds like you know even more about this than I do. Let me bring the senior. Let's get together with the senior lender. We'll have a conversation. True. Happened this week. No word of a lie. Happened this week. And I have a meeting with them next week. And we're going to have a conversation. And we're going to try and win. We're going to try and do some awesome stuff. Okay, good. I just have to look at my phone more often tonight because my lead, my favorite guy, my buddy Kenny, he's down and out sick right now. So we're just trying to pick him up. All-nighter hider. Yes. Thanks, Ango. Bank chat. No does. Exactly. Yeah, it's guys, this is of critical importance. You guys, I get it. I didn't know who the right person to talk to was. I thought a VP at the bank. I was like, oh, they're the nuts. Like they're a VP. Yeah, VPs in bank grow on trees. However, you need to find that senior lender, or you need to find the person that's in charge of commercial lending. Now, here's what I will tell you. Those people will return your phone calls, and they are available to you in small banks. The senior lender the chief economist for Wells Fargo is not going to call me back. And if he did, I'd have some ideas for him. However, that guy's not going to call me back. And so what you have to do is you have to be working with those smaller banks, 2 billion AUM, assets under management, 2 billion AUM, right around there or less, because they're going to have 3 to 5 locations, 5 to 7 locations. Most importantly, they're going to be able to take your phone call. And I'm in the top, I'm with a number of different banks, but I'm in the top 100 customers for multiple banks. That's important. That's important because they know my name. Deals that have to go get approved in front of loan committee, they know my name. This is important. This is how you build reputation. And do you start there year 1? No. Do you get there year 5? No. Do you get there year 7? Probably not. Can you get there year 10? Yeah, you likely can, because your deals start to happen more often, right? And if you're doing seller financing, it's a one-off on every one of those deals. And so that's fine. If you can get seller financing at a great term, fine. But if your option is seller financing at a rate and going with a bank at a rate, you're much, much stronger in another position. Much, much stronger in another position, which is actually with the bank, because now you're building reputation. Banks also, based on their actual income, have an allowable amount that they're able to lend out to a given single borrower. Now, some companies or some people take that up with one massive $20 million loan. Others, me, do millions and millions and millions of dollars in loans. Oh, that's funny. Do millions and millions and millions of dollars in loans, but we do that with multiple buildings. And so for us, we have that relationship, and it continues to work for us. We continue to add assets to the stack, but we're not looking for that one-shot deal where it's like, yeah, we have a $10 million relationship, but it's one deal. I mean, that deal can be refinanced. That deal can be brought somewhere else. That deal can also get in trouble. And that's the big thing for us, is we are a spread of risk for them. Let's see. PE turned RE. Planning on a house hack number 3. How much in reserve should I have? Impossible to answer based on that much data. However, when you're living in the house, you're already living thin anyway, and that's the best way to possibly live. So for us, we would constantly add, but if you're already doing it, you're already planning house hack number 3, you're outside your first year. We lived really, really, really tight. We just did. So when we had enough money to buy the next house, we bought the next house. And if we figured that we had to do this much work to it, we planned out that work over the course of the first year. But every single time we moved into the next one, we were then getting the income from the last one that would more than cover what our rent was in the new place. And then all of our money from our W-2 was able to fund the other stuff that we were doing. So that's how we did it. So it's impossible to give you an actual number because I don't know what you make. I don't know how quickly you recover. I don't know what your cash flow is. I don't know what all your expenses are. Like, that is a massive deep dive. But general rule of thumb for us, we would save up enough money to move into the next place, and we knew that we could handle doing the projects over the course of a year and be able to pay stuff off. If we had a major emergency, which we did, like a dead heating system, if we had something like that happened, yeah, we would put it on a credit card, pay $10,000, and boom, we were done. Was it ideal? No, it was not ideal. But that's how we did it. And then we could make the minimum payment. And then when we got some sort of either a cash out refi or did something like that, we were able to then exit out and make a difference on the other side of it. So it was pretty powerful. Landlord Odyssey, any way to GC a construction loan yourself? There isn't when you do a 203K. When you do an actual construction loan, yeah, absolutely. I do them all the time. Literally all the time. In fact, I'm doing 3 of them right now. The jail, I am the GC. The 5 unit I have, I am the GC. The 20 unit building that we're planning on doing, or maybe doing, I don't know what's the right word. Planning on doing it. We're planning on getting the terms, and we're planning on getting the agreement from the city, and we're planning on doing all the planning and all the architectural stuff. I don't know that we're going to actually build it, but that's all the stuff that we're doing with that, and I'm GC there too. Dylan McMahon, what's up, people? Hope y'all had a great week. Dylan, hope for those same for you. All nighter hider, banks are all reliant on each other's balance sheets. Makes for a shaky banking system, even though there's more than 4,000 US banks. That's true. The problem that they're having is that the deposits are leaving those smaller banks and they're going to the massive banks. The reason why that is because everybody doesn't want exactly what happened last time to happen this time. So the funny thing is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You guys heard of runs on the bank in 1932 and in 2022 when it came to Silicon Valley Bank, SVB. You guys saw the difference. Do you guys know? And I'll scroll down and I'll come back to the questions up here. Do you guys know what the difference is between a bank? Holy Lord. Do you guys know what the difference is between a run on the bank in 1932 and the run on the bank in 2022? So 80 years or 90 years later. Do you guys know what the difference is? Put them in the right there. After Nikki Taylor's amazing question, which I'm going to answer. My lender said I can't GC my own construction loan. Yeah, they're wrong. Then you go talk to another lender, because small banks will do that all the time. Usually brokers won't allow it because they don't know what they're talking about. All Nighter Hider got it exactly right. It's speed. It's speed. The speed by which a bank can fail is as simple as my pressing buttons on my phone and transferring money out of the account. That's how fast, because I can wire it. If I send that wire to the Federal Reserve, because that's who clears a bank wire from bank to bank, is the Fed Reserve. So if I instantly put in, let's say I'm a rich guy, $25 million. I don't have $25 million. Not even close. Knock off a bunch of zeros and I've got that much. But if I go to send that much money, guess what happens? It hits the Fed. Then the Fed does their reconciliation of that. And I'm simplifying, obviously. It shows up in the new bank and it pulls from the old bank. Well, what happens when there's 1,000 people that start to sniff that something's wrong? What do they start doing? Boom, all of a sudden. And then, yeah, people line up at banks. Dude, line up at a bank? What are you, joking? What do you think is going to happen? You think you're going to beat up somebody walking out? You're ridiculous. That's not going to happen. Nor should it happen. It's not the teller's fault. What are you kidding me? Even if you show up at corporate, what do you think is going to happen? They have a helipad on the top roof. So when you look at something like that occurs, the people that were at home with their high-speed internet that actually heard the rumbles before, they're the ones that got their money out. And then you're probably stuck. So going and showing up at a bank does you no good. Going and trying to physically withdraw it, no good. They're going to lock the doors, guys. They're going to lock the doors. That's a silly concept. Digital age. Get on your phone. Make sure you know how to do this sort of stuff. Make sure you know how to set up a Swifty. Make sure you know how to make that transfer happen. And a lot of times it can only happen with corporate accounts. So make sure you know how to do that, because that's how you're going to be how you save your money, unless you want to wait around for the government to figure out exactly what happened and start, FDIC jump in and, hey, sure do hope there's enough money left in FDIC to make that happen. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. I'm on fire tonight. More than a little bit miffed. I won't lie. More than a little bit miffed because I'm getting these phone calls and I'm having conversations with banks and then trying to change the terms of a deal because I want to do exactly what the portfolio was designed for. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Yeah. Houston, we have a problem. So, but again, no names, no sharing of names. But yeah, Landlord Odyssey, go get a different bank. Go to talk to another lender, because there are banks that will absolutely, credit unions too. You can say, guys, I am a GC. I have construction experience. I do. And I want to GC my own project because I think spending $10,000 on this project, because a lot of times it's anywhere from, 5 to 10% of the budget. I don't want to spend $10,000 on a GC to oversee something that I already know how to do, that I already have all the right contacts and all the right people. That's not what I want to do. Lavetta, I got a stated income loan in 2000 to buy a house. Yeah, exactly. Dill McMahon, I was looking on Section 8's website. It had low income home rent, high income home rent, FMR, 50% rent limit, and 65% rent limit. 65% was the highest number. Can you explain each? Dude, that's a whole show. So here's what I'll give you the tips. Here's the tip. The tip is that's on the income side. That is not on the rents side. That's based on incomes, and again, it could be completely different what they're doing, but when they list those numbers in my area, it is this, here's how much money you can take that you have to pay this percentage of your housing. Call them and ask them. This is what I talk about in the course, and which is you guys got to call the housing authority. You're going to be working with them in the future. And when they state something on their website, it's good to read that first. So you go into that conversation knowing at least what the general ideas are, but you need to be asking them that, because their definition or explanation of how they implement the rule could be completely different than what the actual rule is. It's how the rule is implemented. You got to be talking to the housing authorities. Don't listen to people on social media. Listen to me. Call the housing authority. Call them directly. Say, I've got a rental unit and these are my questions. And they will take the time with you. And you say, I'd love to put it in the program. I believe in Section 8. I believe in affordable housing. I believe in being able to help these people out that can't get housing. And so I just need to understand exactly what we're talking about here. And you can say, hey, my understanding is FMR is this for a place that with including all the utilities. This is FMR. And you say, is that what you currently pay? And they will say yes, or they will say no, or they will say, yeah, we're willing to pay that. That's what you have to find out. That's what you got to find out. In other news, mattress sales increase. Yes, that's true. That's true too. Pants on Fire sales increased too. Yeah, absolutely. Rentals increased as well. Everyone thought my rents were horrible. They weren't. I had more people that were getting tossed out of their houses that needed to find a place to live. I can help. I have a unit where my loser tenant isn't paying rent. Yup. He's going to be out and you're going to be in. Hi, Senya. Good to see you. Those liar loans really came back to bite me in 2008. They always do, but they came back to bite everybody, Senya, because the mortgage broker was telling you to do X, the bank was telling you to do, and basically encouraging you to do X, and then people did X. Well, we can't really necessarily, but don't give me this whole thing about, all the fault of the banks. That's a bunch of bullshit. You're lying to yourself. It's not how it was. I was talking to people that were getting those liar loans. I had a friend that had a mortgage company that had 36 mortgage brokers. 36. That's a massive mortgage brokering firm. That's a massive brokerage. Massive. And I know that they were doing liar loans. They talked to me about a liar loan and I said, I don't want to do a liar. I don't want to do one of those loans. And they're like, why not? And I was like, because my payment's going to be too high and it's not conservative enough and it could absolutely blow me out of the water. I still almost went bankrupt. Even not lying. I still almost went bankrupt. That's how bad it got. But I'm glad I didn't. Dylan, if you refi and don't cash out, does the term extend of if you go just a normal 20 years? Nope. If you refi and don't cash out, no. So when you do a normal refi, so I do what's called recasting of debt. A refi is different. A refi is refinancing of the property. When you refinance a property, it's a brand new term, brand new loan. It's all new. When you recast debt, it's the same loan, but you're applying the debt across assets differently that allow you to get other assets discharged. It's a complex concept, and there is pretty much no one on YouTube that talks about it, except for me, because I do it all the time. But that only works in an up market. Admittedly, that's not like the best It's not an all the time strategy. It's a strategy when you've created enough capital, you can be one of the strategies that you use to create capital for yourself. So yeah. Ms. K. Hey, Ryan. Great to see you. Dylan McMahon, when do you keep window units? When would you get rid of them and why? I would get rid of them when the seals are gone or if they're covered in what I believe to be lead paint. That's when I would get, and I want higher energy star windows. And so when I see that the ones that are there are old, I like to upgrade them, or drafty. It gets really cold up here in the wintertime. I'll never had a rate cut still have a lag effect. So a September rate cut won't mean anything for another 6 months or longer. I agree. I think the challenge is that there's going to be that initial euphoria just because the rate did cut. There's going to be that euphoria. And I think that's going to get people that are going to try to engage. However, guys, take it from somebody who lived through 07 through 12 and I did deals. Here's what ends up happening. They do a rate cut and they start to tighten lending. How they do that is they increase the DTI or decrease the DTI, as it were. They increase the amount that you need to have in reserves. They decrease the number of mortgages that you're allowed to have. They increase what your credit score needs to be and where you start getting better rates. They increase the cost. Guys, look at the spread. It's the spread. It's the spread. What's the spread? If a bank is borrowing at 4.2%, then they're usually, during COVID, they were putting that debt on the street for 150 basis points higher. 4.2 plus 1.5 is 5.7. So when they were doing it then, rates were zero or rates were half. And then they were putting it on the street at 1.5 to 200 basis points more. So it would bring them to 2.0, 2.5, right around that range. Then as the Fed started to raise those rates, then that would creep up. But what also crept up was the amount of basis points in the spread. It was no longer 150 to 200. It became 200 to 225, then 225 to 250, then 250 to 275. And then there are some banks that are 3, which means, i.e. the bank that I just talked about, they're at 8.2. They're borrowing at 4.2 because they're usually doing 10-year notes. That's what happens. So they're borrowing at 4.2 and they are lending out at 8.2. That's 400 basis points. That's very profitable lending. However, you have to be that profitable because you have to make out for the lack of transactions that you actually have. Can I get an amen? I'll check down below for amens. All-nighter hider. Fractional reverse banking is dead. Banks simply look at counterparty risk to determine if a loan is viable or not. Reserve requirements are no longer a thing. Not necessarily. I still talk to a lot of banks that see my cash flow, but because they see things are in the market is going the way that it's going, they do absolutely care that I've got A, cash flow, B, a low cost basis. What they look at when they see my portfolios, they see that my portfolio is probably across the entire portfolio is probably more like, 54% LTV, 56% LTV. It's pretty low for the size portfolio that I have. Landlord Odyssey, Dylan, you're getting a new loan when you refinance and paying off the old loan. Yep. The years will go back to 30. Exactly. It'll go back to that if that's what you choose. Loretta, the Fed rate cuts will take some pressure off of my HELOCs. It's been brutal. Had no idea at the time, learning as I go. Loretta, you're exactly right. People were in HELOCs that were at 7.5, but it's a moving rate. So, and it's usually X plus. And when I say X plus, it could be prime plus, it could be LIBOR plus. It could be FHLB, so Federal Home Loan of Boston. They have a bunch of different products. And so for some of the things that I'd seen, it was Federal Home Loan of Boston, 7-year plus 200 basis points, which can put you at 9. At 9, you now have 9% debt. Guys, that number is insane. 9% debt. I've literally seen HELOCs go from $413 to $1,300. No joke. $413 to $1,300. It happened to me. Except mine actually went, I think it went like 1,000, a little over 1,000 to about 1,300. And then just in the great financial crisis just went like that. And so I think, but they closed off all my loans. They closed them all, even the ones that had open credit on them or open balance on them. They closed all of them. And the rate on some of them went into the double digits, 10, 11. And so I was at $1,300 a month was the high. And then it came down off of that. And I think the lowest it got was like 3 something. 3, I think something. Yeah, it was right around 3. Yeah. Crazy. Dylan, Pensford says 72% of Fed funds is below 4.75 at end of year, 23%. That will be above 4% this time next year. Yeah, everybody says something. So Dylan, the first thing that you learn is everybody thinks that they know, and you're going to find so the big great financial crisis. Guess how many people are right about that? There are like 3 or 4 decent sized names, only 3 or 4 decent names that were actually right about the great financial crisis. Yep. True story. 4 names that get draped all over everywhere, which was like Michael Burry, who was the big short guy. There was, what's the other guy's name? Nouriel Roubini. He was a economist that said it. There's another economist. I forget his name. If Ned Talks is here, he knows his name because we've talked about him. And then Kyle Bass. Kyle Bass was another one. He made returns of in the 400% area for his funds. So there was a really short list. None of the big banks. Most of the small banks. So most people missed it. Completely missed it. That's why I don't listen to these experts. I watch how my tenants are doing financially. I watch how they're getting late, how people get late payments. I watch the jobs market. Guys, it's ticking. It's ticking. I told you at the beginning of the year, I said by the end of the year, unemployment is going to be significantly higher. Now, I thought it would happen a little bit faster. We're still not at the end of the year yet, but I think when we're going through wintertime, I think we're going to see a disappointing Christmas sales thing. I think we're going to see that disappoint. And I think that then it's going to really start to roll and be bad January, February, March next year. That's what I think. I think jobs are going to be in trouble, and they're not going to be propping things up for the election anymore. Let's see. That is, I'll let you guys answer. Dylan, Angel R. My sister just refinanced her paid off property, 90K at 8%. That's awesome. I mean, I'm not sure if you, I mean, depends on what you're going to do with the 90K. I would only do that if I knew that I could get a 15% return or a 17% return, because if I'm paying 8 and with how that compounds, how that's compounded interest, the fact that in the first 10 years of a 30-year mortgage, you're largely not going to pay down much of that loan at all, maybe 10% of principal. It's not something I love unless I have a plan for that money, and that money is going to be going out there and getting more of its friends to come home and jump in the pool. All matter how the Feds talking to each other are all about higher for longer. Yeah, absolutely. They want to keep it higher for longer. Totally agree with that. Simon and I, you uneducated economists, if you guys aren't watching the show, I better see some of your names in the chat. You guys got to be watching Simon. He's been right on about this stuff, and this is something that we've talked about for a real long time. You know, this stuff is right on. It's going to be higher for longer. You guys look at my videos back from January. I said flat out, there's no way there's going to be 7 rate cuts. No way. I said 2, at most 3. That's what I said. 2, at most 3. Well, everybody thinks that we're getting one in September. Yeah, maybe we do. Maybe we don't. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. So I still believe it's going to be probably 2, maybe 3. But that means we're in trouble. That means it's not good. That means there's bad things are coming. That means it's bad moon rising. Robert Fernelli. So what should I hope for people who bought a small multifamily at 8% because they saw a TikTok with no idea that they are going to lose their job, have a problem, or forced to sell when rate cuts happen? Keep creating powder. That's what you have to do. You have to create that powder. You got to create more and more and more cash. You got to create more cash. Got to create more cash. Guys, I have $1 million worth of projects that I want to do on my portfolio. Literally have 1 million projects that I want to do. I'm not doing them right now because next year there's going to be a bunch of contractors out of work that are going to need some help. And I want to be that help. I want to be able to help them out and go, hey, listen, how about this roof? And then they're going to get selfish real quick. They're going to go, well, yeah, I quoted you last year, $10,000. Yeah, dude, it's not last year anymore. Nope. What do you want to do it for? And I'll go back to the same 3 people I got quotes from before. And one of them is going to say, you know what? I just need to keep my guys busy, or I need the job. I need to put it together. That's how it works. That's how it happens. Listen, I get it. There's ebbs and flows. There's these guys that have gouged me for the last 3, 4, 5 years. They've made an absolute fortune charging me twice what roofs used to cost. And my time is coming. And those are the roofs. I did those roofs because those had to be done. But I got a bunch of them that are 5 to 7 years left on them. I'm not going to do them right now. I got a few more years. And as soon as I replace that roof, guess what? The clock starts ticking on that roof. For what it's worth. Sorry, like I said, got to keep my eye on that. Let's see. Cadilla, 14. Thanks for the banking primer. Oh, you're very welcome. Dylan, all-nighter hider. Yeah, I don't claim to know the future. Yeah, true story. And I run from anyone who claims to know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the future is, but again, it usually tends to rhyme. And I'm telling you, one of the ways that a lot of these houses are going to fail, and I said it on Zoob's channel, I think last week, was insurance and taxes. Insurance and taxes are going to get so unbelievably high that it's going to make a lot of these single family guys. This is why I don't like single family homes. All due respect for those of you who invest in single family homes. Congratulations. I hope it works out for you. But this is why I don't like single family homes, because as soon as they raise taxes and insurance become a whole lot more expensive, guess what happens? You end up writing a check every single month. That's what happens. And when that happens on a multifamily, even though it goes up, I've never, ever, ever seen an adjustment that made it go up to where I wasn't still making at least high single digits. And that's when it happened. Now it's not even close. Now I'm still in the teens, 20s, 30s, or 40s, all throughout. Yeah. See how often my phone goes off? Hey, there's Ned Talks. Ned Talks, I said, and I don't know if you heard it. Ned Talks, if you can put the name of that economist that we talk about, I always forget his name. Holy Lord, you guys. Oh my goodness. There are so many questions. All right. There's no way I'm going to get to all this stuff. You guys are awesome. I came over from Yuli's channel. Larry Bird, good to see you. Came over from Landlord's channel. Candace Kell, Lumber, glad to catch you live. Yes, watch Tenants. Candace, I'm happy to have you here. All right, guys, I'm going to try and spin through a bunch of these just so I can see if I can get caught up at all. Let's see. Rob is here. Josh Melby is here. Look at you guys. Nikki Taylor. Hey, Nikki. Ned, I already saw you. Yep. Okay. Fair enough. I'm still trying to figure out why banking relationships matter if your goal is small. Only thing I can think of is 10 Freddie loans becomes 4. Yeah, I think you need relationships everywhere. Everywhere. What does it hurt you to have a relationship with somebody and to know them and for them to know who you are? You have no idea what's going to come out of that relationship. No clue. No clue. No clue. I had a relationship with somebody, and that's what got me my top property guy. He wasn't looking for property. He was actually opening up a tiling business. He was a tiling guy. I was like, wait, you know how to do all this stuff? He goes, yeah. He goes, I just wanted to focus on tile. Okay, that shouldn't be the plan. So we talked, I hired him, and we haven't looked back since, and this October's 3 years. Happy anniversary, buddy. And he's great. He's a hard worker, honest guy. My tenants like him. He's fantastic. But that took years to find that guy. And that's all through relationships. If I had more relationships, I would have found him faster, for sure. What's up, guys? Hello, hider. Alaska was fun, but not lucrative. Yeah, I heard about that. 80 cents a pound for salmon. That's awful. I did make another network friend in the cannery. Very cool. Master Coach University. All right, I'm going to scroll down and see that because he's way down there. We're getting electric upgrades to our triplex, including GFCI and grounded outlets for major appliances. Electrician is charging $65 for GFCI and around $300 per outlet to ground. Is there a cheap way to do this? Yes, there is. You turn each outlet into a GFCI outlet. You can look on Amazon. You can buy GFCI outlets for 15 amp or 20 amp. You can buy them for between $8 and $10 a piece. Then you talk to the electrician. You say, okay, we're not going to ground every single outlet. What we're going to do is we're going to put GFCIs in every single outlet. So instead of the outlet costing you $2 or $1.50, it's going to cost you $8. But it takes the electrician the same amount of time, and it's not going to cost $300. So that's what you need to do. You need to go with finding out if the building department will allow GFCIs at every single outlet. And that's the reason why people don't do them. But that will take care of that issue. I'm pretty sure. Double check. But just double check. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Trying to find. Let's see. A-Rod REI. Could you walk us through the process of making disrespectful offers? Do you work with an agent? Yes, I do. Reach out to sellers agents. No, I don't like reaching out to sellers agents. I think that too many of them are morons and just don't know how to properly negotiate both sides of a deal. And I want somebody who knows exactly how I negotiate my deals. My broker is amazing, has amazing skill sets, but he does it exactly the way I ask him to. And because he knows me so well, he can very often answer questions. So now he came back. We just wrapped up something. We finished negotiating. We closed today. I get my check tomorrow. I'll show you a picture of that. And a picture for all the trolls. This is for the homies. But they came back a few times and he was just like, hey, listen, this is what they want. I think you can go back to them with this, this, and this based on the conversation I was having with the guy, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? A lot of times I just say, yeah, you know what? Let's put this tweak on it. Or you know what? That sounds good. It happens all the time. And so that's where for me, yeah, I want that. I want that. So to do a disrespectful offer, it's not to be disrespectful in how you present it. But yeah, I mean, I've done disrespectful offers right now. There hasn't been anything that I've been in love with. As far as deals that have come across my desk, nothing that I've really been in love with. So I haven't been making disrespectful offers because I'm not looking to buy anything. If the right thing comes up on the market or in a relationship, yeah, I'll consider it. But right now I'm focused on getting these 3 big projects done. and turning over and getting ready for wintertime. So how do you write a disrespectful offer? It really just comes down to price, right? But it's like, guys, reverse offer strategy. If you're taking my course, this is one of the things I teach. The reverse offer strategy. What is the reverse offer strategy? It is you're having your agent ask a selling agent. So we are interested in the property, but admittedly, we believe it's a little bit expensive. So what we'd like to do is really understand the three most important things that there are to the seller. And I understand that price is important. I get it. But what I would ask you to do is just go back to them and ask them, what's the most important thing? Some of them say a guaranteed close. Some of them say a higher deposit. Some of them say, we don't want you to do inspections. When they say I don't want you to do inspections, I just say, how about we do them this way? Right? There's a number of different ways there. And that's why my course is important, is because there's not one thing that they're going to answer back with. Always in the top three, always going to be price. Price is always there. Often it's, we want to make sure you can close. And then the third thing is almost always some wild card that you weren't expecting. And that's the one that we're trying to get to. Yes, price. Okay. We want to make sure that you close and we don't waste a bunch of time on this transaction. Yep, sure. Okay. So I just did a deal, kid you not. I just did a deal where I was able to move up the closing date 30 days because I bought them a refrigerator. How do you think that happened? How do you think it happened? We had gone to them and said, hey, we're really not very happy about the 60-day close. And that was after we agreed to it. So we weren't reneging, but we were going back and renegotiating. And we said, yeah, we're really not thrilled about the 60-day close. So we need you guys to think about what you think, what we can do to close that gap. And they came back and they made some stupid things. And they were like, yeah, we want this. We want this. We want that. No. Get reasonable and we can make that happen. But be it not reasonable, we cannot. And we did. And you know what we did? I bought them a fridge. And then they came back and they wanted this diesel fridge. I was like, no. I literally said to my broker, I go, this is the fridge. This is what I'm going to give them. And I said, that's the fridge I'm going to buy them. And then he was like, well, will you give them a credit for that? So he went back to them and they're like, we don't want that fridge. He's like, that's the fridge you're going to be getting. That's it. That's the mountain. That's it. And they came back and they go, well, would you give us a credit for that? So to save 30 days, right? We closed yesterday. To save the 30 days and another mortgage payment, another payment towards taxes, to save, for something figures, to save that amount, I bought them a $599 fridge, or gave them a credit for a $590 fridge. Awesome. Sold. Done. That's elite masterclass level negotiation. You guys tell me, you ever bought somebody a fridge to get a deal done and get 30 days knocked off and realize that your net on that money is probably 3x or 4x? It's big. Huge. That's yes. Alaska's from look at welcome back, Hyder, Joshua Melly. Good to see you. Have you ever had issues with tenants responding to your welcome letter? Yep, sure. Yep. Like them not responding to it? Yeah, for sure. What I often will do is if I haven't heard anything back, I will post it again on another door. So yeah, absolutely. And then if that doesn't work, then I will send it certified because I need their contact information if it wasn't on the estoppel for some reason. Estoppel, look it up. ESTOPPEL. I think it's EL. Might be LE. Might be LE. I don't know. Estoppel, look it up. Let's see. Angel R. Matt, are contractors in your area still busy? No. See more homes being prepped for sale now than remodeling to stay. Yep. Is this a housing market warning? Yes, it is. It's exactly what it is. Yep. It's people don't have the excess funds anymore. They're maxed to the hilt. Now they're spending inflation minus gas, minus food, and minus housing. What would you say you're counting in the number, dude? So that's where, they're getting more and more stretched. And so they don't have the money to do that stuff anymore. And they're even just saying, hey, we're just going to have to stay in the house that we're in right now because we can't afford to take that leap into the next big one because the numbers are too crazy. So yeah, you're absolutely seeing that now, but I'm seeing it. Yeah, for sure. I have seen more posts on Facebook in the last 3 weeks in the contractors groups that I've in than I have in the last 2 years. I told you it's coming. Told you. But it's not crash, crash, crash. Everything's going down 20 or 30 points. It's not what it is. This is the rollover. This is the rollover phase. And then in 25, it's going to get worse. And in 26, it'll probably get worse. Nikki Taylor, I plan to renovate a small bathroom mid to late September. How soon should I get quotes? Now. You're late, Nikki. And I love you, Nikki, but you're just a little bit late. It's always makes sense because here's what happens. You want that work to happen in late September. That's 8 weeks from now. But you've got jobs that push, ordering materials, all of this other stuff. Your best way is looking at those and getting the best number that you can in front of you. And then a lot of times they'll say, oh, hey, can we do it sooner? Oh, hey, can we do it sooner? Hey, would you mind? Can we do it sooner? Sure. The other thing too is that as their calendar gets more and more sparse, I talked to a guy that used to have a 3-month backlog. He now has a 3-week backlog. Times they are a shifting. I'm telling you. And hey, I don't begrudge the guys. They charged me what the market was. I had relationships so they would still get it done, but now it's going to be my turn. It's going to be my turn for the next few years. It's golden rule. Who has the cash makes the rules. Landlord Odyssey. My lender said, yeah, go talk to another lender. That's why, seriously, some lenders, it's usually brokers that say that. And it's because they're pinheads and they don't know actually how to couch the conversation with the bank. Because they're like, oh, how could you ever GC a project? Because really all GCing is relationship with contractors, understanding how the work needs to be done. Again, another reason to take my course. And then it getting done. That's really the thing. And then the money not being allocated. Or the money being allocated when a given task is done, which is looked at by a third-party company anyway. Banks don't look at that. They don't take my word for it. It's in a third-party company. It costs me $300 every time I have them out. They look at it and they go, yep, okay, yep, this, and this done. I just had somebody out. I'm doing $115,000 draw, I think it is, or $105,000 draw for the jail. And that's how they did it. Guy walked around. He goes, I was like, HVAC wiring, finished wiring over here. And these systems and this material has been delivered and it's on site. That's how I did it. I needed Earth. Once I get my 4th rental property, I'm investing in Bitcoin. F these banks. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll see. Digital speed. That's right, Hyder. That's right. Hyder, I trust the computer code of BTC, not to the ends of the earth, but I think it's a great alternative. Yeah. I think diversification is not a bad thing. Yeah. It's not a bad thing at all. A-Rod REI, let me know if I answer your question. Ned Talks, Trade Better. Wanted your thoughts on water outside drainage. The property does not have access to the city pipe and some water is going into the basement. Should I French drain into the backyard? That's what I would do. Not knowing anything about the situation, that's what I would do. Last I saw, FDIC has about 3 cents per dollar insured. Yes, sir. Hyder, my dude. Now, that's 3 cents per dollar based on all of the dollars in America in the bank accounts and in the banking systems. But that's why the big ones have to be too big to fail. But the small ones, they can let those fail. So that's why there would usually be a bailout of the big banks, the super banks. And that's why on the lower end, they use FDIC. So excited to have internet again next week. Thank God for Starlink. Good for you. No worries, Hyder. Can just print more. It'll be fine. Exactly. Time to live stream, Ned. I know, right? Yep, Ned, that's a release valve. True story. FDIC failing is people pushing whole life on me, telling me that life insurance companies are super healthy. No, they aren't. That's not true. A lot of those life insurances, a lot of those life insurance companies, what they're actually invested in? Mortgage-backed securities. Okay. Dear heavens. Now, obviously, everybody's different, but yeah. Glad you didn't fall for that one. Insurance companies invest in high yield, risky corporate bonds. They did invest in that too, but they do a lot in real estate. They buy a lot of real estate stuff because they could so what they would do is they were getting a 5, 6, 7% return. The DSCR vendor, what do you think DSCR sells their loans? DSCR companies don't put those on their books. They sell them to insurance companies in big, huge bundles. A lot of them do. Fire and Ice, Dodd-Frank's fault. Yep. When would you replace window units with central AC? I probably wouldn't. In Texas, yeah, I mean, it really, In Texas, that's a problem because it's hot like 95% of the time. Here, it's not. You don't need a full-on AC technician for window units. That's true. Angel R, if you want to provide window units, look into Media U-shaped window air conditioner. Oh, that's a new name. Haven't seen that one, Angel. Angel, you're an HVAC, aren't you? Or you used to do HVAC? Robert Farinelli, all-nighter hider. What would you call an insurance company? He told me only go with the big four: New York Life, Guardian, Mass Mutual, and Northwestern. So they all have long track records. Yeah, so did Lehman. Like, what a jackass. Not you, Robert. The guy talking to you. What a bonehead. What a bonehead. Honest to God. Oh, it's a really old company, so it's guaranteed. It's look at what was the bank? The one in England that failed because they did a movie on it. Great movie. Ewan McGregor. It's called Rogue Trader. The guy was losing trading his own accounts, and he was shoving it into an account that he called a reconciliation account. And before they knew it, they were, I think was it Bonham? No, not Bonhams. Now I have to know. Hold on one second. Yeah, this is horrible television. I know. Rogue Trader Bank. Barings. Yeah. Barings Bank. That was the name of it. Barings Bank. That's the one he belly upped. All-nighter hider. Yep. It's the spread or the more beautiful word, arbitrage. Yeah, no kidding. Fire and Ice, NYS, DSS give away free installed window units to low-income homeowners, tenants, and seniors. Wonderful. I mean, there's certain people in that group that certainly deserve it. There's others that don't. I saw Medea U-shaped being returned at Home Depot today. Very interesting. Robert, I wouldn't care much for the name, more so the balance sheet. True story. Yeah, but the balance sheet, though, is a little bit deceptive. There can be, certainly. Angel R, tenants won't care for central air. I have it on one of my rentals and had to install a lock to the thermostat so tenants don't break it. Yep, they broke it twice and turned it up, down like it's a dial. Yeah, exactly right. And they're like, yeah, really cold is even faster. Really hot is even faster. No, it's not. It's just how long the unit runs for to get to that temperature. All-nighter, to be more accurate, banks aren't concerned with bank reserves. There you go. Yep. That they have in their books when considering a loan. The borrow reserves are always considered. Yes, that's 100% correct. Rob Hyder, is the sweet siren song of Gary calling you? What do you think of certificates of occupancy? I think they suck. Certificates of occupancy is literally the city saying, hey, we're allowing you to live in your dwelling because we've approved it. Certificates of compliance are worse, though. There's bigger, like Manchester and Nashua. They have certificates of, I think Nashua, I could be wrong, but I know that Manchester has certificates of compliance. Every 2 or 3 years, they send one of their 37 building inspectors for a city of 117,000 people. They send them out there and they basically make a list and say, here's all the things we want you to do to your house. And you're like, dude, that's going to cost me like $3 or $5 grand. They're like, yeah, well, you need to do it in order to get your certificate of compliance. And every 6 weeks, we're going to come back and we're going to look at it. And every 6 weeks that you don't have it done, we're going to fine you $195. It's exactly, I swear, that's how they do it. That's how they do it. Candace, it's so good to see you. Do I know you by a different screen name? But anyway, super excited you're here to hang out with us. Rob, Fire and Ice, kind of looking forward to an employer's market. Yeah, the entitlement is off the charts. Yeah, we need some Gen Zers and millennials to cry on their spilled milk a little bit. Here's the thing. Think of it this way. This is one of the things that I actually brought to Zuber's show 2 weeks ago. I said, think of it this way. All of these people that were basically like 18 years old. I think I said 18. So 18 years old when the great financial crisis hit, they were born in 1990. Okay. 17, 18 years old. They were born in 1990. Now it's 2024. It's 34 years later. If you are 34 years, you weren't an adult during a financial crisis. 34 years old. So quite frankly, if you're under 34 years old, you don't have a whole lot of credibility when it comes to understanding a financial crisis and what it feels like and what it looks like, when it moves like, and what it smells like. It smells like failure. It sucks. Everyone's depressed. Everyone's nasty. Everyone's short fused, even more than they were pre-COVID or post-COVID. Everybody's difficult. And it's a nightmare because everybody is struggling with something even more than they are today. And so if they're 34 years and younger, they have no clue what 10% or 7% or 5% unemployment largely looks like, where it actually impacts them, where it actually, that's what makes the difference for them, right? Think about that. Think about that. They're like clamoring for jobs and they can get any job they want, blah, blah, blah. Look at some of these other countries. Look at like Spain. For people, I want to say for people under 34 years old, unemployment's like 20%. Yeah, that's awesome. Sign me up for some of that garbage. Oh, dear God. Dear God. People that think socialism works, go show me the country that made it work so well. And communism, that's even more of a punchline. Let me know if you've ever been to Russia. Let me know if you've ever seen the beautiful palatial places that they put their people in. Yeah, let me know. Love to see it. Landlord, Angel, that Medea AC looks great. I bet it's much better than a normal window unit. Oh, I'm sure it is. Larry Bird, always good to see you. By the way, one of the greatest players of all time in basketball. And if you don't believe me, I don't know, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas. Ask these guys. I know now it's a show. Coming to hang out here. I get it. Rate cuts equal inflation. You're exactly right. Exactly right. Fire nice. Trump will be back, John. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. My city is now allowing me to add units to all properties. Yeah, see that? And what are they doing that for? They're doing that to answer the question of, hey, we need more affordable housing. Okay, here's how you get it. You let somebody that owns a house finish off the basement and rent it out. You let somebody that actually has a walk-up attic finish off the attic and actually, big surprise, make another entrance there. And there you go. The least expensive way to do that, by the way, is a basement unit. The next least expensive way, believe it or not, is usually an ADU. Usually the most expensive one is redoing the attic when you're not just trying to add to existing square footage of an existing, property, if that makes sense, or to an existing unit. Brett Beeswar, if you had about 20 units, single family home, duplex, and fourplexes, and $100K in the bank, what would you do next? All properties are stabilized. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I'd probably sell the single family home, in all honesty. Yep. I'd probably sell the single family home. That's the one I would sell. I would sell it right now. And here's the thing. That's not advice. That's just what I'm doing. I sold one. I have the next one is under agreement and ready to close on the 15th, but that's a duplex. But it was just it's a unique duplex. And then I've got 3 others behind it. One of them goes on the market next week, and the other one goes on the market at the end of next week. So I have 2 more that are hitting the market next week. They are going on market. So I'm selling my single family homes. The numbers are too good. The returns aren't anything special on the rents. And so I'm willing to pay a little bit of taxes, take some profit, and get poised for some adjustments in the market. I've seen more deals in the last 90 days than I had in the previous year. And I think that velocity will continue. I think there's people like me trying to get out of some of these assets where those assets work. They just don't work as well as my other stuff. And I just would like some more cash. This is adult monopoly, guys. Make no mistake. So 20 units is a ton of units. Brett, that's a ton of units. So if what I'm doing in my position, I'm selling off all my singles. I'm selling off strategically a couple of other properties that will get me into the 7 figures as far as cash sitting there. Cash is trash. Yeah, I understand. But that's going to get me well over $1 million, which I believe in the next 12 to 18 months, I believe that we're going to see that median price come down. I think we're going to see some assets get discounted. I think that there's going to be opportunities to buy some things that have some hair on them. And the way you make those deals happen is with cash. And then I refi out of it. But I want that flexibility of cash. I really want that flexibility of cash. And I still believe that there are going to be some bank failures. There's going to be some smaller bank failures. I think that then those assets get turned over to other banks. So that's where I think the problem will happen. And I think the other piece of it too is if something catastrophic happened to a bank, and let's say I had some mortgages in that bank, and then that acquiring bank decided that they wanted to call my loans. Well, I could then reach out to my whole group of relationships that I have, and I could either take all of it to one bank, or I could take some of it to one bank and some to another. But what they're also going to want is deposits. So I can say, well, you'll get deposits for rent, see how good the rent rolls are. And then I will say, and I'll also deposit another $250,000 into your bank, which gives them some lending power, and essentially think of it this way. So I deposit $250,000 or $500,000 as an example, they then get to lend out 90% of that money to somebody else. Well, what happens if they're just lending it out to me? What happens if that's the thing, right? They're basically just lending it back out to me because I brought some assets in there. They allowed me to buy it or to basically finance those assets. And I'm essentially, the money that I'm basically giving them is going to help self-fund the deals that they're giving me. Think about that. Not hearing that on any other channel. That I can bet you. Let's see. Peace. We'll watch the rest of the. Later, Dylan. See you, man. Sorry I missed you. Yeah, I'm about 20 minutes behind. Ushka. It's because you guys had so many questions and it were really good. Jack Stewart. Hey, Jack. How good to see you, man. Good to see you. I am catching up on emails. I've had guys sick for the last week and a half, and I've been trying to get all of these projects done because I have a very small window to get these things out. So I apologize. I've been horrible on my emails and my social media. I'm usually horrible on that stuff too anyway, though. Landlord Odyssey, would you consider a modular triplex on an empty lot? Yep, I would. Not sure if they're too expensive. I don't know. I haven't seen the modular tries, but I've seen a new modular that I like a lot. They range 450 square feet up to 1,200 square feet. And the 1,200 square foot one is built to an Energy Star spec. And it's 1,200 square feet. And it's and you could actually connect them. They're like a little over 200 grand, but they're beautiful, beautiful high-end stuff. Angel Landlord, I remember in your first video, you showed the basement. Maybe you can convert it to a studio. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You leave the systems room where you have access to the systems room. The only thing you're going to have to do is you have to make sure that you have 2 layers of 5/8 sheetrock on the ceiling, because you got to be able to have 2-hour fire rating. You're going to have to make sure that all the lights and bypasses, you're going to have to do what's called fired caulking, CAULKING, fire caulking. So that's another thing as well. Thanks, Jack Stewart, for telling people to hit the like button. I appreciate that. Master Coach, we covered that answer. Brett, Brett, optimization. Sure. Yep. Yeah, I think I'm trying to create more cash on assets that aren't massive performers, like single family homes. They're already not a massive performer. I just want to help do that work. So a GFCI, Master Coach, a GFCI will substitute for a grounded outlet? Yes, it should. I'm pretty sure that's what code is. If there's any electricians in the room, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that's the ground fault circuit interrupter. So when you plug in and you get some sort of surge or it interrupts, and that's what pops the little button out. Yeah. So that should do the trick, but ask them. Joseph Ayala, hello, Matt. Love that your show is now on Thursday nights, missing the boot camp sessions. Joe, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. Thursday nights. I had to do it because Sunday mornings were just too tough for everybody. They were too tough for everybody. Can you go over how to find a level 10 agent? Like that top tier elite agent. Yeah. So here's exactly what you do. What is your buy box? What are you typically buying, Jack? And then based on what you're typically buying, which I believe is small multifamily in Pittsburgh, I think is what it is, Jack. You tell me if I'm wrong. Real estate mindset won't debate me. He won't debate me. I'll destroy him. Those guys will never, ever debate me, ever, because I will blow up their entire career and I'll blow up what they make for money, because they're so wrong and they're so easy to prove wrong. They aren't living it. They don't do it. They have no clue. So Mr. Rhino Silver, love that, by the way. Love that. Silver. They'll never debate me. Not in a million years. I offered Reventure Consulting. I offered him $10,000 to debate me. He wouldn't. I said, on your channel, you can debate me. I'll bet you $10,000. He knows that I'd cost him that probably in the first 3 days. They'll never debate me. They can't. They're too busy reading charts and they have no idea what the actual real story is, what's going on. So modular. So yeah, Landlord Odyssey modular. Yeah, I would look at the ones in Canada. I think they're really, really nice. The level 10 agent, Jack. So you're buying small multifamily. I believe it's in Pittsburgh. What I would be doing is I would look at what your buy box was first thing. Look at what your buy box is. See all the things that have closed in the last year that fit your buy box, and see if you start to see a trend. Oh man, that guy's been in there 7 times. Oh man, that guy's been in there 3 times. Oh man, that guy's been in there 5 times. Yeah, that's how you do. That's how you do it. So for mine, that's what I did originally. Then my guy got a lot older, wasn't really going after it. The only time that I could go see a property was if I found the property and I sent it to him. That sucked. So my guy now is much younger, late 20s, early 30s. Fantastic. We've become great friends. His kids come and play over with my kids, and mine go over and play with his. His wife is amazing. They're fantastic, but he does it exactly the way I want it done. And so that took some time to get there. I won't say years, but now we've worked together for years. And so now it's like we just speak the same language, so we can get deals done pretty quickly. But how you find that level 10 agent is first finding the one that's kind of active, and then interview each of them. Just say, hey, what the challenge becomes if you get the guy at the very, very top, right? Let's say there's somebody that's doing 30% of the transactions in your area for that type of asset. I got bad news. They're already linked up with a bunch of good players. What you want to do is you want to find somebody that over the last year has done multiple transactions. And that's the person because then they're going to hunt for you. You can say, hey, do you have a bunch of investors? And they'll say, yeah, I do. No, I don't. Blah, 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 blah. Estoppel. Thank you, Kadia14 or Cadilla. Like Quesadilla. Keith Hager, great info tonight. Thank you very much. All-nighter hider, real estate mindset. LOL. Will he engage in a debate? No. I did one video on his channel, and then I did a second video on his channel. And then I said, hey, would love to have you on my channel to have this conversation. And he pussed. He totally pussed out. Yep. Nope. Crickets. And the dude hasn't grown he's grown his channel, but his views are in the same range all the time. And it's because of the same people with a negativity bias. And you know what's really funny is that my crowd versus his crowd, mine has a lot more money. And I got a fraction. I got 10,000 subscribers. He's got 100,000, I think. I think he's got like 100 grand. I don't know. I honestly haven't watched a video of his in like a year and a half. But I've seen the thumbnails. So what's really interesting is that you guys have more money. I'll put my guys up against his guys all day long. They're a bunch of professional malcontent losers that don't actually do anything. You guys are doers. You guys are here to say, hey, how can I get my leg up? How can I get an advantage over my competition? Hey, how can I become elite at doing this so I can retire early? I actually had to have an argument with some Dave Ramsey follower. He's like, see, you don't understand. I'm a millionaire. I was like, you're 70 BFD. So that's great. It's better than not being a millionaire at 70, but I was a millionaire in my 30s. Okay. So yeah, Dave Ramsey worked. Yeah, it worked for you. That's fine. But I used leverage to get rich, not inflation, but I used leverage to get rich. Yes. And now am I over levered? No, I'm the least levered I've ever been. Why? Because when I saw where I believe the economy is going, which is I believe we're going to hit recession, I wanted to delever a little bit, take some off the table so I can then go back into the market. Harder, faster, bigger. Yeah, real estate mindset. I'd love it if they would debate me, but they won't. Jacob W. Hey, Matt, what is the support email for your course? I bought the course in bootcamp and it seems like I don't have the Zoom link. Oh, Jacob. So it's support@lumberjacklandlord.com. Thank you for letting me know. It's one of those weird things where the system looks, so we have a dashboard. The system shows A, somebody purchases, and then B, it shows that they've been given access. That happens automatically because they had the purchase in there. So if anybody is struggling with that whatsoever, please support@lumberjacklandlord.com and that will be fixed. Yeah, we'll get you access right away, or they'll get you access right away. Wealth Building Journey, Chester, good to see you, pal. Master Coach University, AIG. Yeah, exactly, AIG. Matt, do you think pressure reducing valves are worth it? Situationally, I think. I don't think it's a hard yes or a hard no. I think it's situational. Yeah, I think it's situational. Robert Fairnelly, Nashua doesn't, so they don't have COCs, but it's because they don't have a 37-person building department, right? Fire and Ice. Do they have the same standard for owner occupants certificate of compliance? Do they have the same standard? Yes, they do. Yep, they do. We shall see. My COC is needed to be renewed next April. Damage last time was $300. Smokes and handrails. You got a good one. There are 2 there that were in charge of my ward. It was awful. It was awful. Larry Bird. I was 21, couldn't get a job. Yep. And at 21. So it's that like 17, 8, like when people were going into college, people that weren't just entering the workforce from high school. But yeah, couldn't. Yeah. Yep. Totally right. Jack, unless they live in the ghetto. So socialism is definitely a scam. Jack, welcome to the channel. Good to see you, pal. Good to have you here. Fire and Ice. In 78, I had practically to beg to get a job at Burger King. 78. So okay. Yeah. And 92, I think was another big one. 91, 92. And then also like 87, 88 or 85, 87, something like that. I don't know. I was single digits. Jack Stewart, I had to quit school in the last recession because my parents lost their jobs. Yeah. And I had to pay their bills until they found new jobs. Recessions suck. I was a child and had to work like a man. Exactly the same thing, my man. I get you. I understand. Yeah. In those early 90s, I was 13, 14 years old and I was working. I dropped out of high school. I dropped out of the 9th grade. I was working. And yeah, it was hard. It's hard. Yeah, Jack was working 40 hours a week in a restaurant and then 30 hours a week cutting grass. Yep. You do what you have to survive. That's exactly right, Jack. And it sucks. It's horrible. It's hard. But that's it. That is. Yeah. Robert Ferrinelli, damn, Matt is on fire tonight. Thank you, pal. You were definitely offended by your bank. I was pissed. I'm not even just offended. I'm pissed. Yep. Now you need to offend us more. Yeah. That many curse words is going to get me banned. I was pissed. And so that's still an ongoing thing. Now, thankfully, I had the salve of a closing with a massive check that I'll show you guys in social media, Instagram, Lumberjack Landlord. I'll show you guys a picture of that check. And that doesn't happen if I'm not investing in real estate. Doesn't happen. What's really interesting is I thought about it this way too. 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the last property that I own. Think of it this way. This is really important. That is the last property that I own from my first 5 investment properties. It's the last one I own from my first 5. Now, what's interesting is that let's talk about the next 5. Number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Number 6, sold. So that's my last one on my top 6. Number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. I have all those 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yep. Yeah. Think about that. 23 years into the journey, and I've sold now my first 6 properties. The first 6 that I bought, I've now sold out of those. Think about that. These are assets, guys. These are not anything other than assets. These are assets. And when you get a refinance at a 70% loan to value, you're still leaving 30% of the equity behind in that asset, right? And depending on what your strategy is, that might be the right strategy as you're paying off mortgages. It also might be the wrong strategy because if you really want growth. But I'll share that next week. I wanted to wait until it closed. We closed today. I get my disbursement check tomorrow. That's going to be what we're going to talk about next Thursday. We're going to talk about that deal and we're going to talk about that money. And we're going to talk about how that happened. But that was the last one of my first 6 houses that I did. Fire and Ice. Next subject matter. Real estate agents stink. That's too nice. They suck. And most of them are morons. Guys, so this is one of the reasons I did my course. If you take my course, it is my firm belief that you will be more educated about real estate than 95% of the agents in the market. 95%. That is my goal. And the reason that is my goal is because it's up to you to be successful. And one of the questions that I get asked, in fact, it was asked tonight, Jack asked a great question. Matt, how do I find a top tier agent? How do I find a number 10 agent? How do I find that guy? How do I find that girl? It's really hard. And so what you have to do, all due respect to my agent, he wasn't a 10 when I found him. Wasn't a 10. He's a 10 now, but he wasn't one when I found him. Now, he was a 6 or 7, but he was smart, hardworking, had skill, all of those things. Now, part of it was experience with me. Others were experienced with them, but it's just like marriage with agents when you're trying to really grow your business. He might not, or she might not be a great agent, or they might not be the best or biggest and brightest agent, but they're the right, biggest and best for you. So he was in the state last year. I want to say he was in the top 25 or 30. So we're 25 or 30 agents ahead of him. But what were those agents? They weren't the right fit for me. Guys, admittedly, I'm going to shout. I'm going to pop off. I'm going to scream. I'm going to do some of those things. Guys, you guys have seen the boot camps. I do that sometimes. It's how I let it go. It's how I let it go. Yeah, it's how I let it go. It's how I just pop off. I let the release and boom, we're back at work and we're doing it again. That's how it goes. Fire and Ice, Jack Stewart. That's a noble, time-honored tradition. Yep. In hard times, kids would forego school and go to work to support the family instead. That's exactly right. Still happens in America, kids. Robert Finley, Section 8 tenants suck. You will be offended. The day when Matt started the series. It's a true story. Yeah, Section 8 tenants do suck. Sorry, you don't like it? Be a better tenant. The worst tenants that I have, the worst ones are not market tenants. They aren't. They're the entitled jerks that get their checks written for them. Some are great. Don't get me wrong. It's not all of them, but my worst tenants are factually Section 8 tenants. And that was with credit score. That was with everything. It's just the attitude by which everything is approached. Let's see. Just fail. Finding out construction loans are not popular. It's true. Finding out banks right now are not doing them or interest rates are through the roof. That's exactly right. And why is that? So let's talk about that real quickly. They're through the roof because the banks don't want to do those loans. That's why they're through the roof. The banks don't want to do them. They don't want that loan. They do not want it on their paper. They don't. So they're not going to ever tell, because here's what ends up happening. I talk to somebody, they say, yeah, we're not doing those loans anymore. Guess what happens? I talk to another bank. They say, great. Why are you talking to us? Oh, I talked to my bank. They're not doing those loans. Really? What bank is that? And then it gets heard throughout the industry. Oh, that bank's not doing those loans anymore. That's not how they do it. It's not how they do it. They make the rates ridiculous. Countrywide, when I went back to them for a loan on a deal, 10.25%. 10.25. Did they want my deal? Nope. Would they have done my deal at 10.25? Yep. They would have. Jack, the past recessions seem to prove that a lot of people aren't prepared for the modern economy. Like living off of the land, it isn't easy, but when done properly, it's a lot more sustainable outside cities. Totally agree with you. Jack Stewart, Fire and Ice. Yep, I was young and I knew I'd recover. Yep, I still went to college, came out debt free from investing and working my ass off. Doing that is not worse than my grandfathers who died to fight, who lied to fight in World War II. Yeah, that's the problem, guys. That's why that's the greatest generation right there. They were fighting to get in so they could fight for our country and for our freedoms. Oh, yeah. Grant Lee, Arizona real estate agent. Hey, Grant Lee, can you get a cosigner off a loan without losing the rate through refinance? No, not that I know of. Not that I know of. Grant Lee, thanks for the question. Welcome to the channel. I don't think you suck as an agent because I don't know you yet, but I doubt you do. Because that's a good question. That's 90% of agents wouldn't know how to ask that question. So yeah, Grant, I've never seen that happen. I've never seen it happen. Because what they want to do is they want to go through the financial stress test to make sure you by yourself can actually handle it. That's what they usually want to do. So I'm sure what I would do is I would talk to an attorney, not a bank. I'd talk to an attorney about, hey, how could we actually carry that through? I don't know that you can, maybe through some sort of transfer taxes or some sort of a transfer from, two individuals into transferring it into an LLC, potentially. But the whole reason that they had that cosigner on the loan was because one of you wasn't able to carry the debt by yourselves, which has likely changed. Jack Stewart, that's what I kept telling myself while going through it. Totally true. Jack, Fire and Ice. That's one thing I like about some Amish communities. They allow their sons to work at 13 and obtain many skills in the processes early on. I totally agree with you. Totally agree. My son works now. He's 6. He works now. He has jobs. He has responsibilities, and he doesn't get things when those responsibilities are not taken care of. Jack Stewart, bro, you literally have my real name. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. All nighter. I'm back. Had to write an official email to the county very nicely asking for accountability. It feels really good to kick some ass nicely. Yeah, until it doesn't work, and then you got to kick ass not nicely. Let's see, Robert Finelli. I think the 2023 International Electric Code doesn't allow for GFCI substitute as a ground, but most places aren't there yet. Yeah, 95% of places aren't 2023 IEC, which is the International Electric Code, which shockingly is so. If you do that project now, what you have to look at, Master Coach, is you have to look at what you can call, or you can look up on the website and see what code they're linked up to. Very rarely are they 1 year behind. They're usually anywhere from 2 to 6 years behind. I have one town that's actually 10 years behind. 2020, 2024, 2024 code hasn't come out yet. 2023, but 2014. So they're not going to be going to 2024. That I can promise you. And usually they won't make the jump from 14 to 24. Usually they'll go like 14 to 17. Try and make that jump. Jack Stewart, Jack, LOL. That's what my grandparents always called me. I just go with it because more people know me by Jack. Very cool. Luke Devine, have you ever had experience a water sewage system? Yeah, sure. What should I look for condition wise in this system? Sewage system. So do you mean like stone and pipe? Do you mean a holding tank? Do you mean a leach field? What exactly do you mean? Luke, I'm happy to answer. Adam Calhoun. Hey, Matt. Great to see you on Thursday. I'll be tuning in. Adam, love that you're here. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Sorry it took me so long to get to your question. Jack Stewart, when I think I have it bad, I watched YouTube via vid about Kitty from Poland and Auschwitz. Not for younger audiences. Yeah, not for younger audiences. Seen it. Brutal. Robert Fernelli, at least I'm safe from layoffs. Maybe my company's goal this year is to get people to quit involuntary by forcing people to move to strategic locations. Yeah. Guys, they're going to do it all sorts of different ways. We're calling you back to the office, and if you don't do it, you're gone. We are closing this location and you have to relocate. That's, of course, that's absolutely how they do it. I wonder if people quit like that instead of layoffs. Yep. Do they count toward the unemployment? Yes. No. If you no, not if you quit. Nope, I don't think, not if you quit. Yeah, I don't think so. But somebody else knows more about that than I do. Josh Burdick, REI chart boys have no real world experience. Big hat, no cattle. Yeah. Others say big gloves, no hands. Fire Stewart, Jack Stewart, Fire and Ice. I've never heard of it. I'll check it out later. Yes. Oh man, this is confusing with two Jacks in the chat here now. I know, right? Luke Devine, would you recommend walking a deal even if you are not really sure what I'm looking at? Yeah, sure. What I would do though is I would find out what that system is. Like, what did they call that system? And then I would call around and I would just say, yeah, I'd like you to come out. I'm walking a property. I'm happy to pay you for an hour of your time, but I'm walking a property. I would like you to walk me through it and explain it to me. So guys, how do you think I learned? That's how I learned. That's exactly how I learned. I would pay people for their hour to come out and teach me in the field at something. That's how I would learn. We had the property I just sold, a 2,500 gallon holding tank. No joke. 2,500 gallon holding tank. True story. Late night retired live is great, by the way. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm surprised Matt didn't tell the bank to take the transaction tube at the drive-through end. So that was a nice version of what I said. Yeah. So we're deep enough in the video I can say it now. My answer to her, and she knows me, she understands me. And I said, so this is what I want you to write down. I say, you got a pen? She goes, yeah, I got a pen. I said, and you can quote me on this one. I said, yeah, you can go back to them and you can tell them the fuck you will. That's literally what I said to her. She goes, that exactly. I said, yep, that exactly. I said, listen, can't say that part. I said, I know the deals that have been talked about. I know deals that were participated in, and I know that those deals were not great deals. And I'm not paying the price for those being lousy deals. And so if that's the way you want to play this, then I'm keeping my 4% debt. I'll keep those assets and I'm not moving it. That's what's going to happen. Because you guys can't do anything about changing that when I've not triggered anything. So if that's the way we got to go, that's the way we're going to go. So that's what exactly. And then there was more cursing. And she was just like, I understand why you're upset. I was like, I appreciate that. And I said, but that's why I wasn't yelling at her. Like I wasn't yelling. I just said, yeah, I mean, it was kind of like almost Dextery psychopathish. Yeah. Like the fuck you will. Yeah. It's not happening. Yeah. And you can tell him I said that. Yep. Jack Stewart, same here. My granddad gave me that name, that nickname because based on my first name, and my family also calls me that. Very cool. Lars Nielsen, for all of you Crash Bros, a house just sold next to the one I bought a year ago for $60K more than I paid for that rental 1 year ago. Suck it, Crash Bros. Exactly right, Lars. Yeah, I'm waiting to see what the appraisal comes back at. But 3 years ago, I bought this property for $155,000. I put 75,000 into it, maybe 230, 235. Yeah, like 235, 235, 240. And now it rents out for over $5,000 a month, and I'm going to sell it for over $400,000. So suck it, Crash Bros. Hope you enjoy the picture of my check tomorrow. Jack Stewart. Jack and John. Okay. Robert Fernelli, going to be hard for me to part with my first two properties with those 2.9 and 3.15. I think those will be held for 30 years. Exactly right. Yeah, you're exactly right. But from what I've heard, COC inspector for my ward is a nicer one. I know the COC for your ward is a nicer one because you know what? I had the biggest jerk in the entire town. For those of you who don't understand or know what Robert and I are talking about, I invested in the same city, and then I got out of that city because I couldn't stand all the politics that went into. And like I said, every time I got hit with those COCs, there was a time where they were every year, and then they changed them to like every other or then every 3. But it was such a brutal process. It would cost me thousands of dollars. It would literally wipe out my profit for the year when they would come in and do those COCs, because it was always like, oh, we'd like to see this upgrade and we really needed to see this changed. And I'm like, guys, we're not making it a brand new house. I can appreciate that, but that's not a life safety issue. That's why Robert is getting hit with life safety issues, which is railing and fire and smokes. That's life safety stuff. That was stuff. But again, $300-400, I'll do it myself. Sure. No problem. And apparently one of the a-hole inspectors left retired this year. And if you have a name of the ones you hate, I can see which one of them run. So his first name was Larry. Yeah, his first name was Larry. Danny Phoenix Thomas. Hi, Danny Phoenix Thomas. I'm lurking, but I want to say hi, Matt. Hi, Danny Phoenix Thomas. Glad to have you lurking. Mr. Rhino Server. I can't believe people listen to Real Estate Mindset. This guy's failed at life. Yeah, no kidding. Failed underwriter, failed mortgage guy, failed real estate agent. He has won at something, being a colossal tool. He is a colossal tool. I'm waiting, in all honesty, for the class action lawsuits that are going to hit these crash idiots, because they gave advice. They flat out gave advice. They gave advice. I don't tell people go buy rental property. I tell people this is what I do with my rental property. And this is how I do it. And these are the margins that I get. They flat out said to people, don't go buy a house right now. They've said it. It's in the titles of a bunch of their videos. Jackasses. So I'm just waiting to see. I'm literally waiting to see them get class action lawsuit. Neil, if it's FHA or VA, maybe you can use the loan assumption process to take someone off. Neil, that's a great point. That's actually, probably not though. It's a great point though. Cause there is a process though, where a VA loan, can be assumable. And it's a process, but that might be right. That might be right. There's a chance that's right, because you can get somebody else to assume a VA loan. But they still have to qualify. So it's not like a real sub 2. The reason it's not a real sub 2 is sub 2 is no credit, no credentials, no cash. In that situation, you do have to have your credentials, you do have to have credit, and sometimes you have to have cash. All nighter header. I'm ready for not nicely too. Yeah. I mean, I don't like starting there, but we certainly can get there if you prove that I'm trying to have an adult conversation. We're trying to, come to a conclusion and where I believe you're taking advantage of me. And so I'd like to have a conversation about that. And if we can't, then at that point, game on at that point. Jack. Oh, that was my guess because back at the door. Yep. Jack. Yep. Lars Nielsen. Matt, I sent you a reply on Facebook Messenger. Thank you, Lars. I'll take a look at it. Yes, I will take a look. Absolutely. Robert Freeling. Oh, so if companies are choosing to do RTO, relocation mandates to get people to quit unemployment might be higher than reported. Yeah, because I think that those people will go into the workforce or they'll go into the pool of looking for a job, but how does that reporting get picked up? I'm not sure. That's a Zoob question. Keith Hager, can we get an update on jail property you upgraded? Yeah, still working through it. We are through HVAC. So we're doing still all rough stuff. We're doing all the guts. So HVAC is basically done. Electric is done. Plumbing starts, I think, next week. Plumbing starts. And then they'll be there for 2 weeks. And then fire suppression. So it's plumbing, then the fire suppression guys, then the electrical guys come back and do the smoke alarm stuff or the alarms stuff. And then we get a rough, what's called a rough inspection that gets gone through. And then we do, and then it's insulation. But that's really fast. Insulation is like a week, and then it's inspection again. Then you're done. And then you're sprinting to the finish line. Then it is sheetrock, windows, flooring, kitchens, appliances and toilets and fixtures, and carpentry, and then paint, and you're done. So I expect that part of the process is the shortest part of the process. All of this big stuff on these big, huge buildings, mine's 8,000 square feet. And so that's the big process. That's the big process is all of the big heavy mechanicals, all the water heaters, all the, toilet stacks, all of that stuff. So they'll have 6 plumbers there, I think, for 2 weeks. Holy crap. If you look at that bill, dear God, that bill is awful. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Even the HVAC bill, I want to say the HVAC bill was it like $80,000, I think. Yeah. Everything's big. HVAC was 80 or 90 grand. Plumbing is, I think, 77,000 for plumbing. I want to say that's the right number. Yep. Yeah. Paint. I think paint's like 40. Paint's a big number. Let's see. So that's the update. Larry Bird. I have 2 properties that are pretty old. Want to renovate them, but 2 broke, saving up cash right now. I like that, Larry. What the other thing that you can do too is you can look at a 203K renovation loan. That might be something just worth looking into because it might give you. So let's say you get $35,000, right? As an example, let's say you get a $35,000 loan to redo the property as you want. How much of a difference, so your $35,000, the payment on that might be, who knows? Let's say it's $350 a month, but you're getting $600 a month more in rent, right? And a done unit rents faster and has a better tenant than a tired unit. So that's one of the things that I would look at. So I would look at some of the renovation loan options that are out there, because I think you can probably get a loan to do that stuff. And I would at least explore it and do the math and see if it might be a fit for you. It might be a fit financially, and it still might not be a fit emotionally or mentally. So you have to kind of go through those checks and balances first. But I would at least explore it because sometimes you can really blow you away where you're like, yeah, I can get the money that I need and it's going to be $350 more a month, but I get $800 more in rent. That's something that you definitely want to look at. Kadia, 14. Do you stay away from multifamilies with shared utilities? Nope. Mine almost all have shared utilities when it comes to water and sewer. Yep. If not, how do you manage that specifically for Section 8 where they don't allow sub-metering based on chargebacks? So in that particular case, I would just charge more for the unit and just say, hey, listen, water and sewer is included as an example. So yeah, sub-metering is something that you can also find out to what level they don't allow sub-metering. There are third-party companies out there that do the monitoring for you. And so it's all available via a website and it automatically gets billed through another company. So what you can do is not doing the bill back per se, you doing the bill back, but you can actually get a company to do it for like 10 or 15 bucks a month. There's a few of them out there. That's actually one of the things we covered in the boot camp. Yep. Jack, lumberjack landlord, out of all your real estate properties, what's the biggest bank debt you have left on a property? That's a good question, Jack. I'll answer that. The biggest one, probably about $1 million, maybe. I think I have one that I owe about $1 million on. Yeah, I probably owe about $1 million on it. I think. Robert Farinelli, it's every 3. I'm going to go 13 more minutes. Sorry. Crazy. It is every 3 now. Yeah. Yep. Now, and they can only point things out on the building code. You're welcome. Do you know why they can only point things out on the building code? Because I was a part of the group that got that approved. That's why. Yep. That was something we discussed with pro landlord and pro contractor legislation in our lovely granite state, live free or die. I was a part of that. I was actually a part of that. And I just said, we all kind of came together and we're like, we're just sick and tired of them just like naming stuff off with nothing. Now they actually have to cite the part of the code that says it has to be that way and show that it's not something that is grandfathered in. It has to be a life safety issue. That's why. I was part of that. Yep. Very proud to be a part of that too. I didn't do a whole lot. I was in some of the meetings and had a bunch of conversations about it, but I was absolutely a part of that. Jack, I'm asking because I actually know the founder of a company that is a master in getting huge discounts on existing mortgages. Oh, very cool. Wow. Getting a huge discount as a master. Oh, very interesting. You can't tell me that Nick Gurley, and real estate mindset didn't give financial advice. Exactly. And you can't just say at the beginning of the video, this is not financial advice. So here's what I would do if I had $50,000 based on what you just told me, right? Like that exactly. Yeah. That's why that's just silliness. All-nighter hider, don't buy is financial advice. I'd love to see litigation filed too. Oh man, would I ever. City Star Productions, I finally caught you live. City Star Productions, thanks for coming and hanging out. It's been great to see you. I hope this was fun. Oh yeah, and only 5 minutes ago. Fantastic. Key, Matt, good evening. I'm late again. Key, we had a deal. You're supposed to come over here. That's all right. I'm glad you're here now. Jack Stewart, Matt, I keep forgetting to ask you, have you ever heard of a DIY channel called Renovation? Nope. What are your thoughts of him if you have? I've never heard of him. I'll take a look at him though. I always appreciate that stuff. Yeah, I'll take a look. All-nighter hider, hit the like button and the bell for notifications. Then hope YouTube cooperates and sends a notification. I know, true story. Guys, I really do appreciate when you hit that when you hit that bell. I'm going to try and do more lives. So in all honesty, I'm just enjoying my summer with my kids. And so I do a ton of stuff with them. It's a lot of fun, but they're back in school. I have 3 of my 4 kids in school the first week of September. So I've got my oldest is 5 days a week. My second oldest is 5 days a week. My third oldest is 3 days a week. And then the baby will be home with me and the wife. So my life will be completely different in about 4 weeks. Because I've loved the summer with my kids and it's awesome, but man, is it tough to get a lot of stuff done. And so September, October will be probably kind of busy. And then I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do a boot camp again this year, which would be probably September, October, November into early December before the holidays. That's probably what it would be. So I'm trying to figure that out right now and see if that can work in the schedule. Wealth Building Journey opt-in. Thank you very much for that, Chester. All-Nighter Hider. Hey, Wealth Building Journey. Yeah. City Star Productions. I'm currently living with my parents. I plan on having $100K less than a year from now. Good for you. If you were in this position, how would you get into real estate? House hacking. And I only recommend that based on what I did. So if I'm getting into a market, I want to house hack. Ideally, I'm starting off, and look at my video 4321, the 4321 strategy. Look at that video 4321 strategy. That's what I would do. I would do the 4321 strategy. Getting into a quadplex. One of the students that I have got into a quadplex. Funny enough, got into that quadplex 3 years ago. He gets paid $1,200 a month in that quadplex to live for free. He's moving out of that quadplex. He'll make $1,500 on his unit. That brings him $2,700 a month on that building, $2,700 a month net cash flow. And he's moving into a place where he will live for free, but it's worth a couple of grand a month. He's moving into a duplex. He'll put that couple $1,000s a month or $1,500. We'll call it $1,500. He'll put that $1,500 a month that he would be paying, but isn't paying. I think he'd be paying like $500. So he can put $1,500 away into savings, like he was paying the $2,000. Put that $1,500 away, $18,000 end of this year or into the next 12 months. Guess what? He's buying another property. Guys, this is how it's done. So he will go from a 4 down to a 2. Maybe he goes up to a 3 or stays at a 2. Maybe he goes up to a 4 or stays at a 2. But that's what will likely happen. And that's it. This is his second. Fire and Ice. Renovation is from Canada. Ooh, okay. Canada has very, very, very different rules. They really have 4 core banks, and almost all of those banks give you 5-year debt. So it's very, very, very different rule. Scott McGilvery, he was an HGTV guy, but he's actually a really smart landlord, but their world is very different. To get a place in Toronto, it's over $1 million. But the problem is that that's with rates when they were almost zero. And so people were getting mortgages, but those rates are going to start to expire. And you think we had a tough time during the great financial crisis. They're going to have a national solution to figuring out how that's going to work, because people can't go from paying 1% or 1.5% on their mortgage to 7%. They can't. And almost all debt, not all, but almost all debt in Canada resets after 5 years. So they're going to start to hit that stuff 2021, where prices really started to rise. The 2021 vintage loans, 2020 vintage loans in 2025 are going to start to take place. It's going to be scary. I'm telling you, Canada, it's going to be scary. All-Nighter Header, City Star, you're doing it. Yeah. Being here and learning, you'll be able to learn, question yourself soon. I type that because investing is incredibly personal, your needs and abilities. Absolutely. Jack Stewart, Jack, I feel like we should make a drinking game every time Matt says Jack, we have to do a shot. One of you might die because I always say your name when I talk about your question. Santi's Earth Bear Projects. I love that. You need dominoes set up in the background. Dominoes. Maybe. I would likely just knock them over a lot. So you're going to see a different studio in a couple, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. You'll see a completely different studio. These are antique Hot Wheel cars. And then that's my poster. So it's not over when you lose. It's over when you quit. So, but we're going to get rid of that. Maybe get rid of it. We're going to change it. We're going to change some stuff. You're going to see a new studio the next few weeks. Yay. Wealth Building Journey. I've got some videos to post. Very cool. Lumberjack Landlord Lobbyist. Thank you, Kadia. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't so much lobbying as I was fired up and got a bunch of people involved. If you guys don't think it works, it works. We went to a city meeting. City was going to pass this statute. They were going to pass this statute for stormwater, and they basically didn't notify anybody. They said, well, we put it in the town calendar. It's like, go away. No one looks at that town calendar, and you know it. All you balloon nuts, all you guys do is look at that town calendar. No real person, no citizen looks at that thing. And so I said, I find it ironic that I've gotten a water bill from you. To be precise, I've gotten 32 water bills from you. every single quarter for the last 8 quarters. And there was no word that you were going to do this stormwater drain bullshit. And it's a tax. It's a tax. You want to hire more people and you want us to pay for that because you already have more than enough people to do the job if they were just effective. And so we actually went in there and the board was pissed. The city council members were pissed because they were like, we spent 2 years on this and you're just going to throw out all that work. We're like, well, we wouldn't be making you throw out all the work if we agreed with any of the lies that are in that report, number one. And number two, if you'd actually asked us first. We're kind of pissed that you spent the last 2 years talking about something that we never would have approved anyway. So we went there that night and there were dozens upon dozens upon dozens, I would say over 100 citizens. 3 people were for it, and boy, did they get booed because they were morons. They were complete water-carrying idiots for the city. And everybody else just absolutely obliterated them. And we basically said, I said, hey, listen, if you think that this room is any indication of what the public is going to do once they all find out what this is and how you guys did it, I can promise you, hopefully the city has deeper coffers because we will be suing you, even though it's our money, suing you with our money. We will absolutely make that happen and heads will absolutely roll. So yeah, it was, I got to get up twice and talk. Guy said to me, he goes, do you want to go last? I go, yep. He goes, I was joking. He goes, you really want to go last? I go, yep. He goes, why? So they send in the Sandman to get the work, to get the job done. Mariano Rivera. That's what I was. Even though he's a Yankee, that's what I was. City Star Productions. Thanks. I'll take a look at the 4321 video. Take notes. Appreciate you. City Star, you're very welcome. You're going to find a lot of value in there, and that's the way to do it. That's the best way to do it. Fast Cholo. Hey, Fast Cholo. Howdy from Texas. Good to meet you. Is there a way to transfer a conventional mortgage from an intermediate family member and not lose 3.9% interest rate? It has equity, and they are willing to give it up. Yes. So you need to look at if they're VA, B, if they're FHA, and then you just need to call and talk about the transferability of the mortgage. And then you'll still have to qualify. So it's credit, credentials, which basically is, do you have the job? Can you pay for it? Blah, blah, blah. Credit, credentials, and cash. And you might need to bring some cash to the table. That's possible. Oh, a couple minutes left. I'm close. Robert Finley, just so Matt can yell at me, I am on vacation right now. Good news is it's to visit family and cost me barely nothing. Well, see, you had me starting off. I was going to yell at you, but now you're good because you're with family and it's barely costing you anything because you're staying for free. But good for you. 4321 video. Oh, thanks, Hyder. Yeah, 4321 video. There you go. Hyder even did it for you. Robert Farinelli, or let's just call it a business trip to consult my family on how to manage a VRBO. Exactly. Larry Bird, you got dice, get a chess game in the back, bro. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You're gonna so am I a little bit of a dork? Maybe a little bit. Probably a lot of it. I don't know. I like cool things. I like to collect cool things. So I have tons of cool collection stuff. So what I want to do is I just want to start sharing some of that cool collection stuff up on the walls with you guys. Balloon knot equals anus. Heidi, you didn't have to explain it. I was flying to the radar with that one. The only one that got that was there were maybe like 7 people in the room that even got that. Come on, dude. You're killing me. Fire Nice, yes. Does the same projects in the States. Yeah, he did a project in Pittsburgh. Went to my local real estate meetup. Oh, very cool. But I missed him. Oh, very cool. I definitely want to take a peek at that. Crazy. Town, did you see our terrible website? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it went, Lorna, too. LOL, Larry, everyone needs a theme. True story. Jack Stewart, I don't drink. Yeah, I don't drink either. Yeah, silly things that you don't know about me. I don't drink ever. Never have. Ivan Zaniga, just bought your course, LL. Lots of good info. Ivan, thank you very much. I'm glad. I appreciate that. Lots of good info. I'm really happy to hear that. I always, and guys, just so you know, so I don't like try to be relatable. I think that people that try and be something that they're not, I think suck. I'm rude, admittedly. That's why you'll probably never see more than 50 or 60 people on my live stream. I'm abrasive. I'm obnoxious. I'm a lot of these things. But it comes from when somebody asks me a question. If I don't know, I just tell you I don't know. You guys see that every once in a while. But if I have experience with it, I share it. And it's because I've spent a lot of money learning, learning some the hard way, but mostly the smart way. So yeah, it's pretty good. Holy macaroni, pass the slapperoni. What in tarnation's going on here? Lots of fun stuff, man. We're just talking how to make dough. Got some, want some more? That's kind of where I come in. Try and help people out. Yes. Jack Stewart. I'm originally from Canada, so instantly recognizable. Very good. Can you buy an acre of ocean? And if so, would you call it Waterlord? I think that's a fair question. You can't buy an acre of ocean. And because once you get outside a certain area, it's then international waters, but close by it is actually extended. So no, you can't buy it. Can't buy it. Long story short, but you can buy lighthouses. Can buy those. Alyssa M, hi from Utah. I'm late, but wanted to stop by. Well, Alyssa was the very first interview that I did on my channel that wasn't a professional YouTuber. She's awesome. Check out that video. It's like 2 years old now, maybe even older. But yeah, Alyssa was awesome, fun. I had so much fun during that interview. She was a blast. And she's a super investor too. She owned 4 buildings last time we talked. Jack Stewart, fire nice. I always wanted to go to Canada, love the wilderness, and always wanted to experience it. If you love the wilderness and want to experience it, come to New Hampshire. We have tons of it. And you don't even have to go above the border. Question, could Fast Cholo transfer that property into a trust to keep that loan in place? No, I don't think so. No, because I mean, they could and then name him the benefactor of the trust. Yes. But then he's still not the homeowner. Then he's still not the owner of it. He could be a benefactor of the trust. And again, guys, I'm not an attorney. I'm literally thinking out loud. Don't you love it when people say I'm speaking out loud? It's called speaking. I'm thinking out loud. So I don't know the 100% answer to that, but I would guess no. I would think that if that person transferred it into a trust, which I have done, I've taken a property I bought in my name and I've transferred it into a trust. I've done that. And in that process, put my name on it, but to get their name off of it, no. You could put it into the trust. Their name is still on it. They still own it. You could be the executor of that trust, but you could also you could be the benefactor of that trust as well and become a trustee. But then that's opening up a lot of doors for issues. Keith Hager at Fast Cholo, see if a bank will accept a short sale. They probably won't. Possible, but not probable. Here just had to share the comedy. LOL. Yeah, I know, right? Good question, all-nighter hider. I'm learning about trust right now. Yeah. Yep. Trusts and P.O. boxes. I have a P.O. box. Ivan's a what? Ivan's Zaniga? Ivan's he's a new student. Wealth building journey. I think they can so long as the transfer is for estate planning purposes. Not sure though. Yeah, I don't know how you structure it. Possible. Santi's Earth Bear says hi to Hider. Hi, Alyssa. You slid by me like a spy. I know she does that. She's sleek, man. She's like, yeah. Yes, trusts are definitely advanced. We actually had a trust attorney on for 2 hours during the Lumberjack Landlord course. It was 2 hours he was on, I think. Yeah, I got the bill for that too. R. Freeman. Hey, ANH. Yeah, all-nighter hider. There you go. Close on a Gary duplex. 2 more single families in Gary next week. R. Freeman, congratulations. Good for you. Jack Stewart. Matt, I'd hope that if I came to New Hampshire that I would be able to meet you. Oh yeah, and do a tag along with you. Absolutely. I'd even route root for the Bruins against the Pens to make that happen. See, what's really funny about the Penguins, I have the utmost respect for them. I actually like and appreciate the Penguins organization. I do. Mario, Sid the Kid, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, the Flower. I really respect the organization. There's an organization I don't respect north of the border. Let's see. So the questions? No way. Wow. That is the end of the questions. Good. 11:06. Guys, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic week. I spent a little bit more time with you guys this week because I wanted to, and it's my show, so I'll do whatever I want. But I hope this stuff was helpful to you. I'll give you guys updates. You guys will see a post tomorrow on my Instagram. I'm going to show you a picture of the check, tell a little bit of story behind it. Pens are awesome and do a lot for the community. Yeah, exactly. So the Bruins, and that's why one of the reasons I respect the club. The other thing that I just respect the organization. You know, they're a good hockey organization. I'm a little bit shocked that they took the GM that they have. Honestly, I'm a little bit saddened by it. But we'll see. The Jets, the Canucks, and the Maple Leafs. So I hate the Canucks. Yeah, I hate the Canucks. But I also hate the Maple Leafs. I think the Maple Leafs are an international travesty. With the amount of talent that they have and the number of people that would give their left arm to play for that team, I think they're a punchline. But guys, come on, Boston. Who's the team that I hate the most? The Maple Leafs. They're like a fart in the wind. They suck. They suck in come playoff time. Joe Solon. Hey, pal. Here's my buddy Joe Solon. He's from a past life. Joe Solon is one of the greatest project managers you will ever encounter in your life. He is the nuts. We did, and I won't share names, Joe, so don't worry. We did one of the largest migrations of data in hospitals' history. We did it together, and we did it in about 6 months. And everyone else was like, oh, it's going to take 2 years. Oh, it's going to be this. Oh, it's going to be that. Joe should be blushing because I'm going to just talk on this guy for a second. He is an absolute rock star. And if you want to know what a good program manager, program director, do you want to know what a good one does? They take ownership and accountability. And then we were up at midnight, 1:00 in the morning, looking at files. We were looking at code reviews, but it's because we owned it. We owned it. And that's why that was the only part of that project that was on time and under budget. So Joe is one of the very exciting and was with me, or I was with him, or we worked together for one of the most exciting projects I did in my entire career. I loved it. It was still something I look fondly at and something I tried to recreate a number of times and could never. And it's because I couldn't find the other Joe Solon. But yeah, you guys, as far as PMs and program directors go, I got 26 years in that business before I retired. I'm hoping Joe will retire soon again too, but man, what a rock star. What a rock star. So good. And Joe, thanks for coming and hanging out, buddy. Let me just make sure I said, every year the Maple Leafs don't win is a great year. Yeah, Lars. Yeah, well, and usually the Bruins are a part of that. Usually we're the ones that send them packing. Go Kings go. Dustin Brown was so much fun to watch. I agree with you. Dustin Brown was so much fun to watch. Yeah. Ivan Zuniga. Oh, that sucks. I wanted to buy half an acre oceanfront. You killed my dream. Sorry. You can still get the same experience by buying a lighthouse though. And lighthouses, you can actually watch. They actually get auctioned off a lot because there's no longer a need from them with how they do sonar and things like that and radar now. So you can actually buy a lighthouse, and you can buy them usually pretty reasonably priced. You can buy them for 100, 150 grand, 200 grand. Look at it. I did. My wife would have killed me had I bought one because they're not that big. Ivan Znika, I am running numbers for a student housing. Yep. What are your thoughts on using 100K down, 20% for a good yield? No. No versus 3% keep cash. Nope. So Ivan, that's a great question. But here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't overpay in order to get a good return. Really look at the numbers because I Ideally, I'm not buying a house, like a single family house, to do student housing. Ideally, I'm looking for a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex. I want that to be student housing. I'm willing to live in one side. I still like house hacking. Ivan, love the name too, by the way. Are you Russian? I know that's where everybody goes, but my family was from that part of the country, part of the world. I'm Ukrainian. Odessa is where my family comes from. Can you tell? Doesn't look like an Englishman, right? It's true. Dark skin. It looks dark, but that's no sun. Let's see. Jack. Lumberjack landlord. Okay, now I'm convinced that we're twins. Yeah, we have to have too much in common. The world needs more bluntly honest people like us. Yeah, that's the only way I know how to deliver it, my man. Some people hate that. Some people hate that. That's why real estate posers and those, crash bros, that's why they get so many hundreds of thousands, millions of views. It's because they're tickling your eardrums with negativity bias, blah, 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 blah. But I've never actually done anything. Dude, whatever. Luke Devine, thoughts on investing in a company town? It's not Gary. Company is still alive. Thoughts on investing in a company town? It's not Gary. Company is still alive. I don't know what that means. Give me more detail. Mr. Nice Guy, tenant's LED light dims after 30 seconds of being turned on. If he turns it off and on again, it will stay lit for 30 seconds, but then go dim again. Have you seen this before? Yeah, so it can be the little module that goes with those pancake lights, those LEDs. It can also be a switch that is not LED compatible. It can be both of those. It could be either of those. So yeah, it could be. Yep. Larry Bird, buy a boat. Yeah, that's true. You can buy a boat. Yep. Jack Stewart. Jack Stewart, I just found out that you can buy post offices. Yes, you can. You can buy all those federal bills. Guys, I bought a police station jail. Yeah, you can buy all that stuff. Yep. I actually, I finished second place in the bidding for a National Guard site. You can buy all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. You can. Matthew, can you say, Denise, good luck with your surgery tomorrow? Yes, I absolutely can. Denise, nothing to worry about. You'll have a great surgery. Surgeons done this a number of times before. They know exactly what they're doing. They literally have spent years and years and years in training to do exactly what they're going to do tomorrow. So I know, I'll even pray for you too, that it's going to be an easy surgery. It's going to be exactly what they expected. It's going to be a walk in the park for them. They're going to be in, they're going to be out, they're going to be done. They're going to say, yeah, everything went great. And then you're going to be on the road to recovery and you're going to have an awesome recovery. That I know is what's going to happen. So I wish you all the best in your surgery tomorrow, but take heart. People are on your side, and guys done this before. They've done this before. So they know exactly what to expect, all the things that they can encounter. They understand them and they're ready to go through them, and they're going to make that happen. And then you're going to be on your road to recovery. So good luck in your surgery tomorrow. Ivan Zaniga, no, Peruvian. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, Peru. Ivan. Okay. Zaniga. I should have picked up with that with the Zaniga. Yeah. Every year the Flyers don't win is an awesome year. See, I feel the same way about the Canadians. I feel exactly the same way. The Canadians are going to be better this year, but they're still not going to be that good. They're going to have one line, and one line can get shut down. Yeah. All Nighter Hider, Mr. Nice Guy. Could be the switches incompatible. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Could be just a bad LED. Yep, exactly. Got to try different things to isolate the problem, unfortunately. Yep. I don't think it's a switch. It's been working for 4 years prior to this issue. Yeah. So in all likelihood, it's the actual light system itself. It's the actual light itself. That's one of the downsides about these things. Jack Stewart. Oh God, I'm Czech. Yeah. I never realized all the similarities, appearance till he said he was Ukrainian. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And that's that Southwest Ukrainian. So it's Odessa, which is right there on the water. Yep. Yep. Mr. Nice Guy. I hope it's not the wiring. Thanks for the advice. It's not going to be the wiring. It's almost zero chance it's going to be the wiring. Yep. I would say, I would be shocked. I would say it's 99%. It's the switch or the light, and 1% chance or less that it's wiring. Mm-hmm. Lars Nielsen, as Mark Madden says, have you ever seen the Flyers win the cup? Keith Hager, you can refurbish a lighthouse to become a VRBO. You can. Yep, you sure can. The problem is that they're usually difficult to get to. The ones that are reasonably priced are usually really hard to get to. That's usually the issue. And many of them are on islands. And then it's a pain in the ass to do anything. But now with Starlink and things like that, now that's changing. Another way that's changing the world. Fire and Ice, company town. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, major employer, only employer. Yep. Hopefully, oh no. Well, let me just scroll up and find that question again then. So you can find it in the recording. Thoughts on investing in a company town? Yep, it's not Gary. Company is still alive. I don't love those towns. And here's why. In Gary, we'll use that as an example. In Gary, you had 200,000 people. One company left and 70% of the jobs were lost. That's why and they left 30 or 40 years ago. That's why that town is an absolute wasteland right now. Now it'll fight back. It'll try to fight back, but everybody that's been doing everything there has been pushing a wet noodle upstream. Like that's not going to work. And so there are pockets, and will they gain momentum? Yeah. We'll get more attention. Yeah. Will people do more projects? Yeah. All that stuff will happen. The question is how many, what fixes the problem there is a big company or a bunch of companies. So what I really like is where you have 10 companies that are local or within, half an hour drive of where you are. And those 10 companies don't make up more than 10 or 15% of the job market. That's what I like. The reason why is it's the big companies that have major layoffs, right? Smaller companies are usually more conservative. The bigger companies are usually like Amazon. If they see traffic go down, they could lay off 10,000 people like that. That's 10,000 people with no job. And if they're going to lay off that many people, then Microsoft, Boeing, and one after the other, right? And so all of those, largely can be dependent upon each other. And so that's what I really don't love about it. And that's a lot of times what you get in big cities, but that's where they get hurt so badly. That's where you can see these massive corrections in cities and not in some of these other areas, because they might lay off some people. They might even go out of business. But when the number 7 company in my area goes out of business, they have a bunch of other job options, a ton of them, or even self-employment. Yeah. Yeah, Walter Wedding Journey. Yep. Praying for successful surgery and speedy recovery. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's the light itself. I agree. Yep. How many NHL teams are north of the border? Is it 4 or 5 teams? So it's, I think it's 6, isn't it? So it's Montreal, it's Toronto, it's Edmonton, it's Calgary, it's Vancouver. Did I miss one? It's at least 5. Yeah. Montreal, Toronto. Oh, Ottawa. I thought it was 6. Yeah. Ottawa. Yep. So yeah. Yep. Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. Yep. I think it's 6. 6. Mm-hmm. Luke Devine. For a holding tank sewage system, what do you look for? This is for 2 8-unit properties and a neighboring building. Yeah, I mean, that's what you look for is if it's a holding tank. Holding tanks in a lot of areas are now illegal. And so if you try to make any changes to the system, you have to go through these massive approval processes. It's a nightmare. Honestly, it's a huge nightmare. But you have to go through these massive, huge processes and then usually the issue is then how close are you to natural water? Are you within 250 feet, 200 feet, 150, 150 or 25 feet of water? And that can be a massive project. It can be really, really, really big. So definitely call an expert, get them out there because they'll know what state law is. And they'll also be able to look at the system and go, hey, this is really undersized. Or it's, hey, the walls are collapsing in. Or it's X or Y or Z. Or hey, based on the size of this tank, you're going to be pumping this tank every 30 days. So ask them how often if it's a holding tank, ask them how often they pump the tank, because that's going to be a major cost. And who's pumping it now? And I want to see those numbers. Larry Bird, do you got to learn handyman stuff or trades to be a landlord? It probably helps. You don't have to. What it really helps is that you can speak the language. That's what the course does. I could go into the course and I could teach you how to hammer a nail and screw a screw, but that's not the purpose of the course. The purpose of the course is to give you the ability to have the conversation, to be able to properly price things. Cause I recognize you guys don't want to be doing the work on your own. You can, and there's a million different ways to learn that stuff. Like I say, I like to pay the guys to go out there and then go with them and see it. That's how I learn. I learn by seeing. And so, but yeah, the purpose of the course is to make sure that you guys understand and can have those conversations. I can have those conversations. I don't change lights or light bulbs or any of that other stuff, but I've seen enough where I know what the problems are with a lot of that stuff that does occur. I always forget about Edmonton and Calgary. I know, right? Yeah. Edmonton. How can you forget about Edmonton? It's freaking McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, even Calgary. Calgary had Kachuk until a couple of years ago in Gaudreau. I mean, they had a hell of a team. Now they've got freaking Huberdeau. Ugh, they had to give up. They're doing a rebuild. When Nazem Kadri is your best player, you're in trouble. Fire and Ice, got to go. Great live stream. Thank you so much, Fire and Ice. I appreciate that. Lorna, have a great night. So the company town is for 84 Lumber, $4.1 billion company. Headquarters are located there. It is a small town with less than 500 people. Yeah, but how close is everything else? But they're expanding to Asia and South America and in 35 states. Yeah, you just have to account for, are there other jobs within a half hour of there? So if you have your biggest employer right there, like that's nice and it's good that they're expanding. But if they're 90% of the jobs, that's risk. So I just would want to assess what's within a half an hour of there that people could live there inexpensively and then commute to other places. Now you're talking. Yeah, now you're talking. Wealth Building Journey, Montreal Canadiens, the Habitants. Yep, aka the Habs, Toronto Maple Leafs, Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames, Vancouver Canucks, and Winnipeg Jets. Oh, I forgot about the Winnipeg Jets. That's 7. You forgot about Ottawa. Ottawa's not on your list. Winnipeg Jets. Ha ha ha. One, yeah, we forgot about the Winnipeg Jets. So it's 6. It's 7. It's 7. Ottawa. I forgot Ottawa. Yep. Yeah, Ottawa. The Senators. Yep. That's my favorite non-Bruin right now. Ottawa. Brady Tkachuk. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. He plays reckless abandon. I love it. Yeah, 7. Yep. How come you don't have a course on buying and analyzing? So in the boot camp, it's a little bit tough. Excuse me. In the course, it's a little bit tough to do because there's so many variables that literally could be hours long. Because the way that, so when you master the rent box, so I know that you just started taking the course, when you master the rent box, and you work your way backwards, that will tell you a lot of what you need to know, is the rent box, because that's your driver. And so that's what helps me analyze the deal is that. Yep. So that's why. Yeah. Senators. Yep. I forgot about so yeah, but we do cover that in the boot camp. The reason we cover that in the boot camp, Ivan, is also because I want to be interactive. So Master Coach University, he had a buy box that was perfectly done. His is the blue, mine's the blueprint, but his is perfectly done. And so Master Coach had a perfect rent box. It was perfect. And that rent box being as perfect as it was, he was able to raise rents. He'll make, I think he said $8,000 more this year just because he did the rent box and then followed through with, getting rent increases, etc. Hair Care Kuwait. That's a cool name. Lighthouse sounds lovely. I agree. Yeah, I think it would be cool. I actually looked into it, like I said, but yeah, too often they were too far away. Golf is the worst on earth. I agree. Yep, I concur. Brett Baseball, talking about the light switches. Yep, I agree. Matt, you should write a list on an upgrade from Studs Out. What do you mean, Matt? You should write a list on an upgrade from Studs Out. Keith Hager, I'm interested. What would you like me to do? Because I'm happy to do it. Come September, I'm happy to do it. But we actually have a big, huge project you guys haven't seen yet. I'm going to try and do, come September, it won't be closed up yet, so I'll show it to you guys. CJ, got to pop out early tonight, out in New Mexico for work. Time for bed. Appreciate you, man. Hey, good for you, CJ. Hope the family's doing awesome. Panatha for life. When banks fail, I don't work with banks. LOL. It's painful. DSCR lenders only. Okay, so you pay a lot more for your money. I used to work with Kiavi, but found a way better lender. I'm gatekeeping. Nice. That's awesome. Good for you. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want DSCR lenders because they're more expensive. Your debt is way more expensive than my debt. Everybody wants to avoid banks. My debt's cheaper than all your debt. Like that's how you play the game. Is I will have relationships with everybody. I have DSCR loans too, and you know what it is? It's the most expensive debt I have. I don't like DSCR lenders because it's the most expensive debt I have. I much prefer to do with banks and write product for them. So that's my preference. But you can do it that way too. DSCRs. It's just debt's more expensive. Jack Stewart, me and my buddies used to play redneck golf where you would use firearms to shoot the golf ball into the hole. It was fun. Don't try this at home. Keith Hager, like how you explained the jail upgrade. Oh, got it. Okay. I'll actually do like a field something with that other house. I'm trying to think if the kids are doing anything next few weeks. I don't know. I don't think so. Let me just check and see what this is. I never like nope. Good night, CJ. New Mexico is the worst state. Sorry to read that. CJ, you can say that again, Hyder. LOL. Out in Albuquerque at the university. Oi. 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 All right, kids. Now I really have to go. It's 11:30. That was 2.5 hours. Oh my goodness. That was so long. That's what she said. Guys, have a fantastic rest of your week. Always fun to spend time with you guys. Hopefully you learned something tonight. Make sure you hit the like on the way out and make sure you're hitting the notification bell. And if you can just do me one favor, one person this week that you haven't seen on this broadcast, on this show, just one person, invite them as a guest to the show because they have a question that they want to get answered. Please do it. Would love to have you. Fast Cholo, you're welcome for the info. I'm happy to do it. But invite just one person. This is how our community has to grow. As you guys have seen in the Mighty Network, and that's going to get more and more stuff that we're going to be putting in there. As you guys, exactly, Santis, you do need to buy a lighthouse. But yeah, love spending time with you guys, but let's make the community larger. Let's have more fun. That's one of the things I really appreciate about Simon's community. You know, he's got 145,000 subscribers, but he has 5, 6, 7, 800 people on a live stream. And it's seeing all those diverse lines of thought. I don't know everything, but I know a lot about what I've done in the area that I've done it. And I know how to evaluate a lot of those things, but I want other people coming to the chat, being a part of it, having a good time with us. And I think that, that would be awesome. So just one person, not 10, even though I would appreciate it. Just one person, just say, hey, subscribe to this channel and just hit the notification button. He only goes live once a week, not 20. He only goes live once a week. And I'm teasing, of course. He only goes live once a week. Come hang out and ask your question. It's free. Coming out and ask the question. It's free. Larry Bird, good stream. You will blow up soon. In all honesty, I love being a business guy and a property developer. A bank told me I wasn't a property developer. But I love getting to do what I do. So I'm not worried about being famous. What I'm most worried about is making sure you guys are equipped as you can. I don't care if you guys never buy anything. If you guys don't buy my course, totally fine. There's plenty of people that have watched me for years that have never bought the course. Fine. All good. Doesn't hurt my feelings. But when you think that you want to take that next level and you're like, hey, there's areas I can clean up in my business, that's what that's there for. And there's a lot of people here that have done that. Matt's course. Get it. Glad you did. Thank you so much. Wealth Building Journey. Appreciate that, Chester. Guys, have a fantastic night. It's 11:30. Holy cow. Unbelievable. Because I still have like an hour's worth of work to do based on the work that we did today. That was my alarm literally going silent on my phone so I can actually work in peace and quiet. But you guys have a fantastic night. I always appreciate you guys. It's a blast. You guys are, like I said, I'll take all y'all and your work ethic and what you guys are doing. I'll take all y'all against any other channel for sure, especially the Crash Bros. I mean, you guys have accumulated more wealth than probably all of their 17,000 people that watch their videos. But always a good time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody. And now you're going to watch the awkwardness of me signing off. It's always fun.